This is Monday Motorsport with Lester Forbes on Motorsport Radio.
Hello and welcome. My name is Lester. This is Monday Motorsport live on Motorsport Radio, on motorsport.radio as well. Hello and welcome to a very special Motorsport Radio. This is Monday Motorsport. My name is Lester. Hello and welcome. Thank you very much for tuning in this fine evening. I hope you are well. We are live, and for the next couple of hours we will be talking about pretty much everything, most of everything that happened over the weekend, all good and all bad. Coming up in the show a bit later, we've got Dan Marr here with us to review what happened in yesterday's British GT Championship at Brands Hatch. Myself and Dan Marr was there, and also we go behind the scenes in British Formula 3, and also Callan O'Keefe takes it does a sort of a pit stalk as well. He literally walks around the F3 paddock and stalks everybody with much hilarity ensuing on that. So do check that out. We've got interviews on the way and coming up from the likes of the legendary Trevor Carlin, who's coming up a bit later to talk about IndyCar, his involvement, possible 2018 future involvement in the IndyCar Championship, moving up a ladder from the Indy Lights series. And also, Trevor talks about the head and front protection device on single-seaters and the Halo device. He has some very strong opinions on that. I want your thoughts on it. We'll play the interview for you later. Plus, Baz Linders, Niall Murray, Stefan Hodges, and we have Nick Vaughan from F3. And returning F3 driver from last year, the Indian driver, Krishnahaj Mahadik as well. You might remember that name if you're a follower of single-seaters in the UK, because he's back and he had quite a lot of success, you might say. Find out exactly why. I go behind the scenes in race number 3 in the British F3 Championship. And also Dan Marr gets up close and dirty in terms of champagne coverage with the GT podium as well. Gets his elbows out and tries to grab a few drivers for a few interviews. Check that out a bit later. But Callan O'Keefe's interview, his pit stalk, is one to watch later on. I've been teasing it all day. So joining us right now, before all of that though, before we start talking cars and such, we have on the line via Skype, he's back to talk about bikes. Yes, it is Kiko Alexander-Giles. Hello there, Kiko.
Good evening, Lester. Nice to be back, and a bit brighter, actually, because, last time I came on, I was a little bit worse for wear with travelling and a bit tired as well due to various delays on the train and when I actually came on here. So nice to be back, and first one up, they normally save the best till last, but this time I'm up early, so what can I say?
I did think, because we'd interrupted your dinner last time, and I thought it was only polite that we start the show with yourself. And we have to start, unfortunately, Kiko, on some terrible news, because you were at Thruxton at the weekends at BSB, and unfortunately we learned that there was an unfortunate death.
Yeah, there was. In the Superstock 1000 race, a support class to the main British Superbike event, there was a terrible accident at the rear of the field involving both the true Heroes racing bikes that are fielded in that particular race. Mark Fincham and his teammate Jim Walker came together on the exit to the club chicane, and unfortunately at 5:30 on the Sunday evening, the bad news was broken that Mark Fincham, who's from Kings Lynn, had passed away and succumbed to his injuries. Obviously, thoughts go out to all of his family, and particularly as well to the team. They must be absolutely mortified. Both riders involved in what was a very unusual crash, it must be said, and it's going to be felt through the whole paddock. Without a doubt, every death is felt across motorsport on a whole. But the British Superbike family is like a family, and everybody knows the risks, and we say it all the time, everybody knows the risks, everyone knows what they're doing, but even when they know what they're doing and know what those risks are, you can never expect such tragic news. So sorry to start the show off on such a bad note, but this is the world that us motorsport fans live in, and it was another tragedy at the weekend, the second one of the season, of course, after Mick Whaley at the start of the year in the Ducati Champions Cup at Donington Park.
Yeah, and we certainly here at Motorsport Media and at Motorsport Radio, of course, extend our very deepest and sincerest sympathies with the family and all the close friends and relatives involved. There's really not anything we can add to that. We're not going to, we're not going to speculate or talk too much about it. It's probably disrespectful if we do so. But if you do want to know more, BSB website, place to go for all the official news.
The official statements out on Twitter and Facebook, and also on the website, of course. It's not a lot different to what we've said, really, because we can only go off what we're told on the statement, of course. So, unfortunately, it was a bad accident, and another one has gone, I'm afraid, and that's the bottom and top of it all. It's just a tragic accident, and also the circumstances that the team was set up for ex-servicemen injured or with some form of disability. For example, Mark Fincham had lost his leg many years ago, and it's just they're one of the good teams in the paddock. They really are unique in what they do, and they have such respect from everyone. Everyone has respect for each other, but that team really does its best, and he's got a massive presence in the paddock. He's got a huge lorry, big awning, and the bikes are on show. They've got great merchandise, and it's such a sad time. I walked past them on Saturday, and they were all laughing and joking away, and it's just in a day it can all change. It's very sad indeed.
Yeah, certainly, but there was still racing happening at the weekend and in BSB, and the racing, as we know, does go on. So tell us then, from BSB, race number 1 then, Kiko, tell us, give us a rundown of what happened.
British Superbikes, race number 1, what a belter it was. Josh Brooks and Jake Dixon had been flying in qualifying, and Jake Dixon, I've decided, is the new Chris Walker. He must practice his starts on traffic lights in the high street, because there is no way that he can make such good starts time and time again. Another belter, he led into Allard's the sweeping first turn at Thruxton. However, it wasn't to be for Jake Dixon this time, because there was a bit of interference from Josh Brooks and Peter Hickman. Both of those guys went through, but it was the Australian Josh Brooks who took his first win of the year, and Anvil Hire Tag Racing Yamaha's first ever win in British Superbikes. And for a privateer team against the likes of Shane Byrne we all know it's not the full factory Ducati, but it gets some assistance and has great technicians in that team, and against Leon Haslam, who's in the JG Speedfit team and has also got great factory backing, with good amounts of help behind him. To do that on that bike that is not particularly tied to the factory is great, and the whole team needs a round of applause for that. What a fantastic, fantastic display of racing that Josh put in. Likewise, from Peter Hickman on his Smith's BMW. That team, again, will come to race 2 later, because there's bigger success stories coming from there. Another great performance from Peter Hickman, who again continues to impress this year. He is now 3rd in the championship following his win in race 2, and he's one of, I think, 3 riders, if not just 2 riders, to score points in every single race so far. Peter Hickman could win this championship on consistency alone. He is, I think, 46 points back. Let me just check. He is 37 points back. I make that 39 points back. I make that. I apologise. 39 points back. He's definitely in the running. We're not even at the end of the show, of the end of the main season yet. So by the time we get to the showdown, anything could happen. It really is really exciting for us bike fans. 3rd place in race 1 was Jake Dixon, another privateer team. The first time ever that we'd had 3 bikes, 3 different manufacturers, none of them of which are connected properly to their respected factories, which is great. And credit to Stuart Higgs for organising such a great championship, because without his infinite wisdom, where would we be? It'd be back in the days of where HM Plant under an airwave Ducati used to dominate. And as much as we loved that, it also got a bit boring. And it's great to see the true workers, the die-hard fans turning into teams, getting their riders out there on bikes that aren't full factory and winning. It makes you question how much a factory bike is actually different to a satellite bike. In my opinion, younger riders are now more enthusiastic to go into a team that might not be the full factory team. It is an amazing achievement that British Superbikes on a whole should be super, super proud of.
Yeah, that's a couple of good points, actually. And there was one of the big things. I mean, I didn't actually, unfortunately, see most of what happened at the weekend with my attendance at Brands Hatch for the British F3 and GT. I did see, however, a lot of talk on social media about another couple of spectacular accidents involving Luke Mossey. What happened?
Yeah, Luke Mossey, bit of a big crash on Saturday morning, free practice straight. Anyone who's been to Thruxton or even knows about Thruxton knows that straight is not straight. It's a long, ongoing right-hand curve. And unfortunately, Luke Mossey just got on the grass and the bike kind of pitched him into the barriers, and he's in hospital now with, I think it's a compressed vertebrae, which is not good news. Speaking to someone who already has one in the build-based Suzuki camp, he was in hospital for 6 months recovering. Now, of course, we're not saying Luke Mossey's going to be in hospital for 6 months recovering. What we're saying is, though, that don't expect him back too soon, and if he does come back too soon, don't expect him to be up the sharp end. The next two circuits coming up are Cadwell Park, which is a lunatic asylum as far as coming back is concerned. It's one of the most difficult circuits for fitness-wise. So that is going to be difficult if he comes back, but I can't see him coming back within 2 weeks. After that, it is Silverstone, which is the last round before the season ends, and it's got 3 races. There is a big question regarding fitness for Luke Mossey, and it's so unfortunate. He was second in the championship before coming into this Thruxton meeting. He's now he's sitting so precariously. I think that's 4th in the championship. He's only, 25 points ahead of Jake Dixon, who is 7th. And Jake Dixon's form at the moment is very, very good indeed since Knock Hill. So Luke Mossey is sitting very, very dangerously now. And it's such a shame that it's come at the wrong time of the year. We always say, if you're going to have an injury, get it done early, because they get the Isle of Man TT break, the Northwest 200 break. You have a good 5 or 6 weeks off, you recover. Unfortunately, as many riders have found out so far, Leon Haslam, Leon Haslam, you've had Glenn Irwin, and you've also had Christian Idden. Now those 3 are starting to come back to full fitness. Christian Idden more than anyone, but Leon Haslam and Glenn Irwin are still struggling a little bit. And okay, they did the Suzuka 8-hour. Maybe that's had an effect on things, but this is not the time of year you want to be throwing things at the scenery. And I really do hope Luke Mossey comes back strong and also comes back full fitness, because as much good as the showdown will do for 1 year, don't come back, have another accident, and then put yourself out for God knows how long, and then, let's not get yourself a career-ending injury. That's the worst thing that can happen. So we all wish Luke Mossey the very, very best. We all wish P. Exton's the very, very best. We know what he's done with Luke Mossey over the last couple of years, taking him up to Superbikes, putting him in the showdown last year. Yeah. This was the big year for Luke Mossey to come and do a top 3 in the overall championship this year, and now it's all come to a crushing end. And I want to see Luke Mossey out on track as much as anyone, but let's get him back full fitness. And don't do what Glenn Irwin has done and come back a bit early and not performed to a massive amount of expectation. And he's kind of got himself in his rut now. He's running around at the back of the field, and that might be because he's injured. It might also be because he's just not got the confidence anymore. He's had a couple of bad rounds, and Shane Byrne said this to me back at Snetterton. You don't want to come back too early and, get your confidence down low, because you realise that maybe you're not up to full fitness, and question whether you can still ride a bike as good as you could before your injury. Come back, get yourself sorted, come back and start performing better again. And that's the end result, really. Luke Mossey, come back, and we wish you all the very best. Just make sure you're well and fit first.
Yeah, certainly. And once again, we extend our very sincerest wishes to Luke, his family, and Pete Extons and the rest of the team, and close relatives as well. And it has to be said, though, Kiko, with him being medium term or potentially sort of out of the picture, without wanting to put the kibosh on his title hopes, if it hasn't already, potentially. the team will probably be looking for some sort of interim replacement, perhaps?
Well, the team have got road racing pedigree as well, and they obviously run James Hillier. Now, it would make sense for James Hillier to join the team because he knows his way around circuits as well. So it wouldn't surprise me if Pete Exons decides to put James Hillier in because he's connected to the team as well. So, but as far as that's all concerned, that's all speculation at the moment. Luke Mossel might be back before the end of the year, and it'd be great to see him back before the end of the year. Whether Pete Exons has anyone in place or is in talks with anyone, I don't know. Unfortunately, I didn't get round to talking to him at the weekend, so Pete Exons will probably be looking elsewhere for a rider, an interim rider, like you say. However, he might not. Not everyone has opted for interim riders in the past, not unless they know that it's going to be a long time. We will see. We will see. And, you know, I would bet on James Hillier getting a ride. He's rode thousands before and he's rode superbikes before, albeit on the roads. But we'll wait and see. We'll see. And I think having one bike in the showdown is good, but I know Pete wanted to. So it's annoying for him. But the main target is to get one in the showdown. It would have been brilliant for him to have two. James Hillier might be in the books for a replacement, but we'll see again. We're not sure yet.
Okay, fair enough. And you've been keeping your eye on the Mackham's Yamaha as well.
Yeah, puzzling. It's got to be said. Like I was saying earlier, Josh Brooks, Peter Hickman, Jake Dixon, even Lee Jackson on the other Smith's BMW, Martin Jessup on another privateer's BMW, are showing that you don't have to be on the full factory team's bikes to start doing well in British superbikes. But the question for me, McCann's Yamaha have been embarrassed this weekend. They haven't been able to set a bike up all weekend. James Ellison is a very, very quick rider, as is Michael Laverty, and you don't lose that talent overnight. So I'm starting to question how well run that team is. They haven't had a win yet this year. And quite frankly, I'm not sure whether a win is going to come this year. James Ellison is, I'm looking now, 66 points back of Jason O'Halloran, who's sixth in the championship. He's 66 points back of a showdown position. We're talking about someone who was third in the championship last year. He has not lost his speed. He has been quick this year, but there has been machine failures. There has also been crashes on James's part. Michael Laverty is 14th in the championship on 53 points. You've got a question. That is supposed to be the factory-supported team. Can I just add? That is what the official Yamaha factory support as their team. They don't support the Anvil Hire Tag Racing team as much. They certainly don't support Aaron Zanotti's Platform Hire Plant team as much either. So where is it going wrong? It proves that being on a factory bike, again, is not the be-all or end-all. You can do well on something else. And, you know, McCann's Yamaha have got to think about this. You know, they took a risk in saying goodbye to Taron McKenzie, who has gone to Moto2. But he would have been a saviour right now to at least have one bike running up the front of one championship. It would make sense, surely not. But, you know, who knows? James Ellison left it late last year to win a race. Will he win one later this year? I've had a tenner with Tony Morris, Josh Brooks' manager. He won't. So, you know, it's speculation, but McCann's Yamaha, it's a disaster. It really is. It's a disaster for them. You know, they are being embarrassed.
With on that note, there's not really much I can add to that, Kiko. To be honest, that they're the words of Kiko, Alexander Giles. Anyone who disagrees with that, send your angry messages
to me. So tweet us away at MotoGP Kiko and tell me why I'm an idiot, a blithering idiot. And you know, you can complain, and I probably won't listen, but you know, we'll see.
I think they'll argue back.
Listen, I'm not saying that McCann's Yamaha are a bad team. But you have to question, why are they doing so poorly?
Kind of sounded like you said that.
Why are they doing so poorly, though? They are supposed to be the factory team. Now, I could understand it if they weren't the factory team and they are running around getting the podium here, the odd podium there. But Josh Brooks isn't. Josh Brooks isn't the full factory rider. Okay, he was in 2015, but he went and won the title. That was expected of him. This year, he's on a bike that is not as connected to the factory as he is. Yes, there could be some that you might get a part here and a part there, and you might be able to get something here and something there. But that McCamm's Yamaha team is meant to be the one connected. If you look on their lorries, it says McCamm's Yamaha, Team Traction Control, officially supported by Yamaha. So where's it going wrong? James Allison and Michael Absey aren't slow riders, you know, and I question this. It's the same situation with Sylvain Guintoli at Hawk Racing. Why is he not delivering? Bradley Ray's delivering. You tell me. I don't know. What's going on?
Well, if you don't know, Kiko, I definitely don't know. Don't ask me.
The team have said, Chandler Warren Gray has said, the team manager for Bradley Ray's side of things at Build Base Suzuki, that there is pressure on Sylvain Guintoli. There's rumours that he's going to go. There's rumours that he had gone at round 3 at Alton Park. So why is he still there? Again, Sylvain's a class rider. So what's going on in the team? What's going on in the team? Coming into Thruxton, Bradley Ray was top Suzuki. And I said to Bradley Ray, surely that was not expected at the start of the year. That was surely not expected for Bill Base Suzuki with one rider, one rookie rider, to come into the championship and to be the top Suzuki. No, that is not what normally happens in racing. What you normally get is your factory teams dominating and your satellite teams sometimes beating them. But this is every round. This is every round, Lester. You had Josh Brooks was ahead of James Allison when he crashed out of Brands Hatch. He crashed out of the lead in race 2 after winning race 1 at Thruxton. That's not on. That should not be happening. James Ellison should be at least be within sight of him. You know, but he's down the road. He's down the road. The only other Yamaha he was battling with was Sean Winfield, which is Josh Brooks' teammate, and he's down the field. With no disrespect to Sean, and I interviewed Sean at the weekend, top quality rider, knows what he's doing on a bike, but he's not on a factory supported bike. Not like James Ellison should be and is, and not like Michael Average should be and is. They should be at least in the top 6, top 8. And James Ellison isn't in the top 6, top 8. He's 8th in the championship, but his results are not top 8 standard. Where did he come this weekend? You tell me. I mean, he had one good result. I think he finished 9th.
Okay.
Michael Laverty is 14th in the championship. He was nearly in the showdown last year. I mean, I'm not against McCamm's Yamaha. Very well run team, like Keith Flint, and I like Prodigy. But you've got to question, why are they being beaten by what is considered the non-factory team? Now, I can understand Peter Hickman doing well on the Smiths BMW because BMW Motorrad are actually quite fair with their parts. They share their love around. It's like the EU, everyone's in it together and wants everyone to do well. But with Yamaha, they're choosing to back a team. They're choosing the full factory support, well, not full factory, but they're choosing to give factory support and the bits to them, and they're not winning. They haven't won a race yet. They've had few podiums. Kawasaki are the same, but in all fairness, Leon Aslam's probably still tired because he's been motocrossing with Alex Lowe's and at Test at Cadwell Park, and Luke Mossey's obviously injured but was up there before. So you can understand that. Jake Dixon is allowed to be in the mix for it. But McCamm's Yamaha have not been there all year. They've had machine failure after machine failure, and you've got to feel sorry for them. But this problem, at round 7 in the championship, Ellison should not be out of the showdown. James Ellison finished 3rd in the championship last year, and I'm running out of excuses, really, to see why he's not there. 9th in the championship he is now.
Yeah, well, we'll give Kiko a little chill pill for a second. All right, take a breath, Kiko. Thank you for that. Monologue. But yeah, we will have a brief rundown of the top 10 standings as it stands currently as of BritishSuperbike.com
we
now
will.
on the website. I'll tell you that in 10th place it is Dan Linfoot on 85 points. James Ellison, as Kiko correctly pointed out, is 9th place on 88 points. In 8th it is Christian Idden on 134 points. In 7th, Jake Dixon on 136 points. And top 6, Kiko, who's 6th?
Right, Jason O'Halloran was 5th coming into the round, but he's now 6th, but has also not DNF'd in any race yet. He's on 154, joint with Josh Brooks, who won race 1 and binned it in race 2. 4th is the absent Luke Mossey for the JG Speedfit Bournemouth Kawasaki, run by Pete Excellency's lot, on 161. 3 points more than him, and massive gainer in all of this, of course. Peter Hickman, 2nd and 1st. How about that for a gaining weekend? He felt like a bank holiday. 3rd on 164 and just 39 points off the leader. 2nd is Leon Haslam on 184, 19 points off the leader, who is, of course, Shane Byrne on a Ducati, who had a disastrous weekend, 4th in race 1 and retired with huge tyre issues in race 2. So as far as it's concerned, Peter Hickman is a big winner, as is, it's got to be said, Jake Dixon and Christian Idden.
Yeah, certainly. And jumping ahead to perhaps what we can term as the rumour mill, perhaps. What have you heard about potential comings and goings other than what we've talked about?
Well,
maybe for the rest of the season or even next year?
Well, there's a few rumours flying around that some stock 1,000 riders are going to be in superbikes next year. It's no secret that Danny Buchan and Keith Farmer want to get back on a superbike in the very near future. With what team, I don't know. There's strong rumours that Morello Kawasaki want to come back into the superbike paddock. They've been there before and they've got good pedigree there before. However, again, nothing confirmed. Will we see them come in the future? I hope so. More teams, the better. British Superbike numbers are down this year on what they were last year, and very much so down on a few years ago. So every team's welcome. Apart from that, there's only rumours flying around the smaller classes in the Super Sports and the Stock 6s and the Stock 1000s. It's no secret that Bradley Ray is very in with Suzuki. I can't say what I was going to say.
Go on, tell us. What have you heard? Give us the inside line, Kiko.
There's no inside line.
You've heard something. We want to know.
I'm on the outside line here. I'm sitting on the fence.
He's going to save it for the pit crew online, isn't he?
No. Bradley Ray is very in with Suzuki, and Suzuki will probably look to
next year.
Build on. So
yeah,
we'll see.
A base for building, you might say.
Yeah, maybe that's why they call Build Base.
But yeah, I haven't found or heard of a person, maybe I'm not looking in the right places, who has a bad word to say about the Milky Bar kid.
You'd be finding someone. He's hiding, I'm sure. There is nothing bad to say about Bradley Ray. I mean, his haircut's a little bit off sometimes, but you can't always blame it on the hair, can you? No, Bradley Ray's a top kid. He's come into this championship as a rookie, and he's embarrassed the Suzukis, the other Suzukis, the factory Suzukis. I won't get onto my factory rant again, but he has. He's embarrassed them. But 8th place on many occasions. 8th at Brands Indy earlier this year. 8th and I think 10th at Brands Hatch GP this year. The first one. That was 2 weeks ago. Thruxton, 8th in a crash, fair enough. But 8th, top 8 for a rookie on an unproven bike, which isn't factory. Come on, that's all right. Also crashing out of 6th place whilst closing down the factory Suzuki of Taylor Mackenzie at Knock Hill Race 1. So Brad's got bags of talent and he knows it. He is the shining star of British Superbikes. I said that in an article and I'll say it again because he is. Bradley Ray is simply one of the greatest talents we've seen come in British motorsport in recent years. The only rider I can even compare him to is Leon Camier about 10 years ago. He came in with the same attitude. I'm going to do well. I'm going to learn. And look where Leon Camier is now. He's in World Superbikes and he's riding a dog slow MV Augusta very, very well. Hopefully Bradley Ray will take Suzuki to World Superbikes and do great things there and do wonders there. He's a great talent and he has got a huge future ahead of him.
Yeah, certainly, and he is one of the possibly one of the most humble and down to earth young lads as well.
Said to me in an interview, and you'll be reading this interview very soon because it'll be up tomorrow or Wednesday, that all he is a normal lad. all he is a normal lad. That's exactly what he told me. All I am is a normal lad, apart from I can ride a bike quicker sometimes. Well, that's about as humble as you get.
Yeah.
There was a kid there. It was a great memory, actually. He's from Sucks, and there was a kid there, and his dad saying, "Say hello to Bradley, say hello to Bradley." And he said, "Hello, Bradley," and blah, blah, blah. Bradley's like, "Yeah, good photo with him and everything." And that's what I mean. The British Superbikes is great, and it's accessible, and it's things like that that make it absolutely belting to be a part of as well.
Certainly, and it is just brilliant to still be a part of the Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bikes Championship, which is going from strength to strength, being the official partner series to the BSB, and to see one of the graduates of it now doing brilliantly towards the top half in BSB.
The British manufactured talents, that is. When the steel industry went, they replaced it with, Cool Fab. So, every cloud has a silver lining, should I say. So, it's great to manufacture British talent. Scott Redding's another one. Came through the ranks and straight into Grand Prix. Look where he is now. Okay, he's without a ride for next year so far, and he's had a bit of a poor weekend over in the Czech Republic. Nearly a Moto2 champion, though, and also a MotoGP podium finisher. So it's not that bad for him, really, is it? He's doing well. Luke Mossey's another, came through the ranks.
Exactly. Yeah, certainly.
And they've got a presence, shall I just say. Cool Fab have got a presence in the British Superbike paddock at the moment. Joe Collier, riding for Roger Keyes' Fab Racing team, the old speed up, I think, from 2013, he said. So, again, it's not just that this is a separate series. There's integration going on here, and it's great to be a part of. You're watching riders develop here, there. FS3, as we know, Lester, when we went to Lincoln, where was we? I can't remember the name of the Tattersall, that's the one. FS3, big British Superbike team with Billy McConnell, who's injured at the moment, and best wishes to him. And James Spoley, the American in Superstock. Big team putting money in. Anvil Yamaha doing the same. I think they run Evan Belford, in one of the classes. Brent Gladwin runs Josh Bannister in one of the classes. WD-40 team from British Superbikes. The integration is right there, and it's brilliant. It really is. It's a stepping stone, as well as the British Talent Cup. Everything's looking right at the moment.
Certainly is, and I have to say, just been having a quick check on some of the comments coming through that have flooded in, a couple of them so far in the show, and you're probably right in thinking that it's mostly all banter aimed at you. A big hello to Stuart Everard. Sorry, Stuart.
One of the joint owners of Everquick Racing.
And to John Bingham as well, former Cool Fab, cool motor racing organizer, Supremo, let's say. John tuned in right now.
Stuart, actually, I'll ask him myself. Stuart, what pub are you in at the moment? Because I know you like a good pint or 5 or 10. I'm glad that you're tuning in and taking the time off your your day job, effectively. Great to see that. But I must say, banter aside, massive thanks to the Everquick Racing team this weekend. The hospitality from Jane Goff and Andrea Stewart's wife was absolutely amazing. The bacon sandwiches were bang on, as was the pasta on Friday night, and I think it was a garlic and cheese bread. That was actually very nice. Well done to Bjorn as well. Bit of a poor Saturday for him, but came through very well on Sunday. And everyone's going home reasonably happy, and I'll be looking forward to sponging off from a bit more at Cadwell Park.
Certainly will, and it's just unfortunate, Kiko, that we are pushed for time. Because it's just the way it is, unfortunately.
It is. It's nothing to do with me taking up time with the lead again.
It literally is, because we've got literally too much to talk about, too much to do, and I don't even know how I managed to fit it into 6 hours or something like that. It feels like that sometimes. But what we need is a separate podcast or something like that, just for these Kiko discussions.
React only. To react only from my own television show.
I mean, one of those hours could be taken up with Kiko just reviewing the meals that he's had at BSB. Yeah, and his showcase superfoods, which food would go with.
Am I showcasing shirts? I have great taste in shirts, as Finn Peter has already messaged me about. Thank you, pal.
Yeah. And hello to Taz Taylor as well, who's tuned in online. Thank you.
Local lad. Local, he's from down the road, I guess.
Yeah, it says hello.
It's a very good ride, actually. Unlucky of late, though. Motorstar, very, very good year so far. Motorstar, but it's just annoying that sometimes within the team you can have a bit of friction. He did very well with the Motorbakers team, who I think ran out of Scunthorpe, and he had a great little run out of Brands GP, about 2 weeks ago. So great to see Taz finally getting a bit of a chance. He deserves it. He's such a class act, he really is, and I can't vote because he's put Mansfield on the map.
Well, there we go. Thank you for tuning in anyway, Taz, and to everyone else who's commented as such. And I think we should make this a real regular sort of thing, but perhaps only longer, so that we can do justice to all the categories in BSB. Because I'd love to talk about it, and Kiko is unusually one of the best teachers of BSB that I've had. Sounds strange to say, but his passion is infectious. But anyway, all right, don't get too big-headed. Kiko Alexander Giles, just tell us then how we can keep up to date with your journalistings throughout the week.
You can keep up with me on Twitter at MotoGP Kiko is the handle you need. You can keep up with me on Facebook, Kiko Alexander Giles, or you can check out, first and foremost, the Picker Online for all the latest British Superbike news, World Superbike stuff, and MotoGP. Of course, we are a small site, so not everything is straight away, and also sometimes we all have our other jobs, but we are all bike fans at the end of the day, and the stuff on there is absolutely brilliant. Loads of exclusive interviews. At the moment, there's Bjorn Esman, the South African. There is Josh Brooks, there's Shane Byrne, there's Jason Hanneman, there's loads of stuff. Check it out.
Certainly do, and thank you very much for popping on tonight's show, and that leads us on nicely to our next segment, because if you remember, last week we had a competition giveaway, in where we were giving away a Kawasaki rider training experience, and that was led on because Kelvin Fletcher of Emmerdale fame, touring car fame, and soon-to-be bike racing fame, I know. He was along to tell us basically all the benefits of having a bike, and promoting the fact that you can save tons of time, have a happier, healthier lifestyle, and be generally happier by being on a bike instead of being miserable and stuck in your car. Even in the rain, you can enjoy a motorcycle. And I was very much of the opinion, and have been previously, that unless you're sort of either born into the biking world and the fraternity, it can be a bit daunting to even get into it, to have never ridden a motorcycle, to actually being a proper biker. Well, anyway, the Kawasaki rider training experience and scheme is giving away a two-wheeled experience, and all you had to do to win this experience, worth £49, was go onto our website, motorsport.radio, and answer a simple question, which was: who are the two riders in the JG Speedfit Kawasaki BSB team in 2017? The answer, of course, is Leon Haslam and Luke Mossey. I hope I didn't put the kibosh on Luke by setting that question. But anyway, we do have a winner, and it was chosen at random, not by myself. And congratulations to Jonathan Provost of MSV. Yes, not fixed, genuinely not, but he did, because I didn't pick the winner. John Provost, who is recently got into being a racer himself on four wheels, and is actually a marshal as well, one of the heroic men and women in orange, and training to be a clerk of the course. So well done, congrats, John, and that prize on its way to you. And stay tuned as well to the website motorsport.radio for further prize giveaways in future, because that will be absolutely fantastic. Indeed. It'll be great to have Akiko back on to talk more about bikes. But still to come here on Motorsport Radio on Monday Motorsport with me, Lester. Hello. We've got a British Formula 3 review and a British GT Championship review, including Callan O'Keefe's pit stalk, where he literally does stalk the entirety of the Formula 3 pit, getting into a load of trouble, annoy a couple of drivers, and ruins someone's dinner. Find out what that's about in just a moment here on Motorsport Radio.
This is Monday Motorsport with Lester Forbes on Motorsport Radio.
Yes, so it is Motorsport Monday, or Monday Motorsport, sorry, on Motorsport Radio. My name is Lester. Thank you very much for being part of tonight's live show, and you can get involved, if you don't believe me, that we are indeed live. You can get in touch with us and argue the point to actually see that we are live, because the comments come flooding into me right in front of my eyes, and I read them out. Hello to John Bingham once again, who's been back in touch to say it's interesting to see a live video interview done by Motorsport Media. Nice change of events. Thank you, John. Don't know what he means by that, because we usually live most Mondays, but anyway. Alright, so still to come later in the programme, we do have loads of interviews, like I say. We will get to Stefan Hodgetts, Niall Murray, Baz Linders is here on the show, and also Trevor Carlin. He has some words of wisdom. It's interesting to, really interesting to hear his thoughts about the Formula 1 Halo device and people who don't like it. And I think he may have changed my mind on it. He certainly put forward a fantastic point about that. Check that out. That's coming up in a few minutes' time. And also Dan Marr is here a little bit later with his British GT review, including the podium. He pounces on the podium and gets right stuck into the backstage on the podium to grapple with some drivers and also talk to them as well. It's quite packed. It's quite small place behind that Brands Hatch podium. You wouldn't think it, but it actually is. Later on we have a full race review of race 1 and 3 in the British Formula 3 Championship, and as well Callan O'Keefe's pit stalk coming up. You don't want to miss that. It's in 2 parts because it goes on for quite a bit, and I had to do quite a lot of editing throughout today. But first, amongst other things, we have a fascinating chat with Nick Vorm, German driver, who is, let's say, experimenting with British Formula 3 this season. He's just wetting his whistle for the season, and I caught up with him at Brands Hatch to catch up with him and find out how his season is progressing so far. And this is what he had to say. Well, I did definitely catch up with him, but he's not willing to have a chat with us at the moment because I didn't press the right button, which is mildly embarrassing. But anyway, Nick Vorm here on Motorsport Radio. We're at Brands Hatch for the BRDC British F3 Championship rounds, and I'm chatting with Nick Vorm. Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, it is a fantastic morning, lovely and sunny. Your first time here at Brands, are you looking forward to it?
Definitely, it's a very challenging circuit. Didn't get the opportunity to drive the GP circuit before, so I'm going to take it steady and see how it goes.
Well, what are you expecting from your debut weekend here at Brands in F3?
Expectations are not very high, just get to know the circuit for next year and hope to build keep up with the field.
Well, talk us through your season so far, really. It might be the case that people listening to this might not know about Nick Vorm. Tell us, you've been doing almost all of the season, apart from one race at Rockingham, I think, because you had to fly home early, apparently. But tell us from your point of view how it's been going. Has it been going to plan? Are you happy with the way it's been going?
Obviously, I come from karting, so that's why the season is only about learning this time. But so far, I'd say it's going okay. Done a lot of progress, making up a couple of places here and there, and especially here at Brands for my first time, I'd say the progress is okay.
Well, you make an interesting point. You come straight from karting as well, and that's something that a lot of race drivers listening to this will be looking to make the next step for 2018. They'll be looking at different options, maybe F4 somewhere, maybe in Europe, looking at some GT options as well. Why do you think F3, like you did, is probably the best option for them?
It's a good opportunity to learn to deal with aerodynamics, which these cars have a lot of. And also the mechanical grip with dampers and everything these cars have is just in a much larger scale, so it's of course more to deal with at once, but I'd say that I'd rather get used to it now than having to deal with 1 year of F4 and then going the next step.
So I'm sure it's a great steep learning curve, but like you say, you're young enough to learn enough, and that will stand you in good stead, hopefully for the future and in whatever and whatever you end up doing. How much have you learnt about setting up the car and how to drive around? Because these are obviously not go-karts. These are BRDC British F3 cars. So how much have you learnt throughout the season?
I've learned a lot about setting up cars and even making points to the engineers about what I would like to have and what maybe I would not like to have. But the learning curve is of course very, very steep, and I've had to do a lot of training at the simulator and on track to keep up with the tough field that we have here in this series. So yeah, I'd say I've learned a lot, not only about the car itself but also about driving.
And your hopes and aspirations for 2018, or is it still too early to think about that?
I'd say it's still a bit too early. I'd see how we finish by the end of the season to then make expectations or wishes for the next season.
But you staying in British F3 is a serious option that you're looking at?
I'd say yes.
Okay. Well, we'll love to see how you go through the rest of the weekend, Nick, and yeah, best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Nick Vaughan talking to myself ahead of his qualifying race 1, race 2 and race 3 sessions at Brands Hatch in the BRDC British Formula 3 Championship, and it was interesting to see, and it's good to catch up with him, and perhaps he is one of the future names and ones to watch for the future. Maybe we'll see him in Euro F3 or maybe some other single-seater category elsewhere in Europe. Who knows? We'll keep an eye on him. Anyway, Nick Vaughan, right here on Motorsport Radio. And also a returning driver from last year in the BRDC British F3 Championship is Krish Mahadik as well. You might recognise that name because he did have a little bit of success last season on his debut weekend at Brands Hatch, coincidentally. And this is where he makes his return to Brands Hatch. I caught up with him before the qualifying session to get his thoughts on exactly why he's back, what he's doing. Is it just a one-off event? Is he looking to launch into 2018? Who will he be racing? I ask him everything, basically. And this is what he got to say. At the Brands Hatch in BRDC British F3 with Krish Mahadik. Hello.
Hi, hello.
Well, it's good to see you back. What brings you back in British F3?
I'm very, very glad to be back because I've been testing a lot this year, and I've double had a seat vacant because they had one of the injured drivers earlier this season. So yeah, we just got in there and just focus on making the most of the opportunity that I've got this year.
Well, yeah, I mean, you did have an opportunity to not race, if that sounds like an opportunity, but rather to have a full assault on 2018. So why do this round here and presumably future rounds as well?
No, this is what we planned for this year actually, because we just plan to prepare well for next year, and that's what we've been doing all year long. And then
with double R.
Sorry?
With double R.
I tested the Fortec as well. I've been testing with quite a lot of teams. It's not because to test their car or anything like that, but wherever I had an opportunity to test with them, I just went with that team. And double R, it was unfortunate for the driver, but fortunate for me that I could get a seat here. And we weren't really planning to race this year, but now that we had an opportunity and we had the budget to do it, so might as well and see how it goes.
And yeah, if you've got the budget, you might as well do it, is the main message. Why not, indeed. So have you been out in this car? Was you testing before the Brands Hatch weekend in this car, and how was it?
I did one test at Snetterton before I came in Brands Hatch with double R, and it went really well because there were a few drivers there from the championship driving the same day as I was, and the pace looked really good, and we were looking really good for the weekend as well. And I'm very, very happy with the car, very happy with the team. it's not easy just to jump from one team to the other and just settle them quite easily. But it's going really well, and I'm very glad that I've got a very good engineer. The team boss is really good, so is the mechanic. And yeah, I'm glad I'm with them right now.
And of course, it is a team which has a lot of the spotlight on it with some of your teammates as well. So did that play a part at all in your thinking?
I think it did, because having good teammates is very important as well, and I have two really brilliant teammates because they've been on the podium consistently all throughout the season this year, and it's really good to compete against them, compare the data with them, and then I could actually see where I stand, and it's going really well because now that I know where my teammates have been finishing the podium, and if I do better than them, then I can definitely just be up there, and it's going really good.
What did you think you've developed as a driver, maybe as a person, from your experiences last year?
I have very much indeed, because I signed up with the management's team called Veloce Sports, and so that's Jack and Rupert, and they have been very helpful to me. They basically approached me after the last season and they asked me to come on board, and then they basically look after me now, and I've been in the UK for the past 4 months, did a couple of testing, and it's gone really well, and I've definitely developed so much as a driver. And last year I drove at Brands Hatch, and that's where my best finish was. That's in 6th, and I really like to see how I get on this year, because I'm such a different driver than what it was last year.
Okay, well, I suppose we'll just have to wait and see how much you've developed and what happens for the rest of this weekend. Thank you very much for chatting to us, Chris, and best of luck.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
So, a returning driver, not raced for most of any of the previous rounds in 2017, and had limited success, it's fair to say, in 2016. His highest place finish last year was a 6th place at Brands Hatch. Do we really think, honestly, that he had a hope of doing well this weekend in Formula 3? Honestly? Well, stay tuned in the show, because he does pretty well. I'll tell you that. I'll tease you no more. But I'll just say that he does really well. Also, I caught up with the eponymous Carlin team owner, Trevor Carlin, who had some very interesting things to say about everything from NM Ahmed, Lando Norris as well, and the Halo device, and whether he is actually going to be in IndyCar, taking the Carlin team from Indy Lights to the top single-seater tier in the States. And you might want to make note of this, because it's quite a good interview. Just before free practice here at Brands Hatch, and I'm here with Trevor Carlin of Carlin fame. Hello there.
Hello, good morning. How you doing?
I'm well, thank you. And how are you? How's things? How's the team? How's business?
Yeah, it's going well, to be honest. You know, it's nice to be back at Brands Hatch on the GP circuit. Don't get to race here very often. It's a pretty special track, so yeah, quite excited. The sun's shining at the minute, but I hear rain's forecast for this afternoon, so we'll enjoy it while we can.
Indeed we will, and certainly your British F3 team are having absolutely no trouble, almost dominating the championship for most of the season anyway.
Well, I wouldn't say dominating. We've got 3 good drivers. We've got a great bunch of mechanics and engineers that have done an amazing job. So it's working well at the minute, but you know what motorsport's like, it can change very, very quickly, and yeah, we've got some strong opposition that started to catch us up, so I expect the last few races to be tough.
And just talking about some of the extended teams that you have in other championships as well. I can't help but mention Lando. I'm sure he's probably maybe the most talked about driver you've got this year, without being too disrespectful to other people, but he is a bit of a superstar though, isn't he?
Well, I mean, he's having a good run of it. You know, he's adapted to the F3 car very well, and he's qualified supremely well. He's had some issues with his starts, which has stopped him getting some results. But all of a sudden, it started to click. And we, to be honest, we pretty much dominated in Spa, and then of course he gets to whiz off to Budapest and drive an F1 car. So I'm very pleased for him. You know, it went well. We've run him since 2015, so we know what he's all about. Yeah, great kid. what heartens me is that I know that some of these other lads that I've got are not far off him. So, hopefully Lando will be the pathfinder and some of these boys will catch him up very quickly.
Certainly, we did notice that perhaps Enam had a better run of it in British F3 than Lando's experiences. Enam certainly seems to be more dominant than Lando was, and certainly it could be, this time next year or in a couple of years, could be Enam doing Formula 1 tests.
Well, you never know. I mean, it's a funny old business. If you'd asked me 12 months ago, would Lando be driving an F1 car at an official test, I would have said no chance. So anything's possible. I think what the boys have got to realise is you just got to keep your head down, work hard, and if you start getting the results and you start to get noticed, and then you get the opportunities. But none of it comes easy. They've just got to keep working, and it's every race is a new adventure.
And what about other potential series on the horizon for you? Are you thinking of sticking with what you're doing this year, or are you expanding into other things or returning back to other things?
No, I'd expect us to carry on doing what we're doing. We're always in America. We're racing in the States, of course, and that's a constant mission, trying to find a way to get the money together to get into IndyCar. But like it's difficult for drivers to move up the ladder, it's also difficult for teams to move up the ladder. So the same deal applies. We'll keep trying and see what happens. But we're very happy with what we're doing at the minute. British BRDC F3, MSA F4. So good championships. Great place to train the young drivers.
Certainly, and the Carling team is probably the most notorious and notable name of all the championships in the junior ranks. Certainly, it's enjoyed maybe more success than anyone else, or as much.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, we keep a note of what we do and we achieve, and it's pretty good. I'm quite happy with it. Always be better. I don't compare ourselves to the other guys. I know if they've done as well as us, then good luck to them. Notorious is one way of putting it. I'd imagine the other teams don't like us very much, but that's part of the job, isn't it?
It's always nice being out in front, I suppose, is maybe a better way of saying it, I suppose. But it's interesting to see what happens with 2018. I noticed you mentioned about IndyCar there being a possible. It has been for the past few years for you. I noticed that was part of the reason why you're involved in Indy Lights as well. Is there any further progress into the top flight in America?
Not at the moment. As I said earlier, I'm still working on it. I mean, the great thing about next year is a whole new aero kit on the car, so it would be a good time for us to come in. At least we'd be. The other teams don't have a massive advantage. They've obviously got a big advantage because they've been doing IndyCar for 10, 20 years. But with a rule change, it's always the best time to enter. So I'm going to do everything I can to try and get in for 2018.
And one other thing I wanted to get your view on, because I know you've been a big supporter of as well, which is kind of relevant to both your worlds here in Europe and in America as well, which is the recently unveiled new aero kit for 2018 for the ovals, which do look stunning, my opinion, compared to Formula One's Halo car. I know IndyCar are looking to have some sort of cockpit shield device, but they've almost kind of designed the car around a future concept like that, whereas there's obviously been a lot of controversy from people who don't like the look of Halo. But you're someone I know who's very much of the opinion that it's needed, a Halo, and for good reason, of course. Yeah, I mean,
it's head protection to me is the last, is the holy grail of safety now for these drivers. The Halo's not the prettiest thing in the world, but then the side head cockpit protection wasn't pretty when it first came out, and look how the designers have integrated it into the chassis design. So I would imagine if and when it comes to fruition, it'll look a lot better, but at the end of the day, it's about safety. Personally, I would be a fan of a cockpit, a screen, but then I'm very aware there's difficulties with that. So if at the moment the best we can do is a Halo, then I'm all for it. But I'm sure that technology will move on very quickly, and I'd love us to have a screen at some stage which we could then incorporate into IndyCar as well. So it's I think it's a good thing, and we'll get used to it. 50 years ago the cars didn't have wings, and they had space frame chassis, so no seatbelts. So things have moved on, and things are always going to change.
fascinating point that you make, because there's been a lot of talk about a halo potentially ruining the DNA of a single-seater car of Formula 1, and of course it will probably trickle down into British F3 and the junior formulas as well, just like the HANS device has. But you made a point there that 50 years ago cars didn't even have wings, so...
Yeah, I think anyone that says it ruins the DNA of Formula 1 and motorsport is talking out their arse, really. I know you can delete that bit, but it's progress. And what is things move and change all the time. So it's safety. If someone lost someone close to them through a head injury, they would be pushing like hell to have a halo. So I think it's some people, they're not seeing the big picture.
Always fascinating to catch up with you, Trevor, and find out what's going on in the carling world. And best of luck this weekend.
Thank you very much indeed. Cheers. Thank you. Cheers.
Well, what do you think of that? Controversial words, perhaps. I don't want to overplay what he said. He said it for himself, and I'm not going to put other words into his mouth. But he did say that. He said what he said anyway, and it'd be interesting to see and read your thoughts on that. Do you agree with Trevor Carling? Are you someone who hates the Halo device? And if so, Trevor says you're talking out of your arse. Thoughts, please. Internet. Yes, we are live. This is Monday Motorsport on motorsport.radio. My name is Lester. Hello and welcome to the show. And still to come, we have a Callan O'Keefe pit stalk, is what I'm calling it, in where Callan literally stalks the entirety of the Formula 3 pit lane, a la Harry Hayek, in sort of tribute to something he did in Australian F4 a couple of years ago, and it had some hilarious consequences. I had to edit quite a lot of it out because. Anyway, he quickly realised that actually doing what looks like what I do and Dan Marr does, bumble around trying to make coherent sentences whilst trying not to get run over, trying to grab the attention of drivers or riders, trying to think of some sort of coherent and structured sentence and some sort of inquisitive sentence to ask them, whilst also looking to camera, looking good and thinking what you're going to say next. Is actually quite difficult. He realised that pretty early on. He is good at it, though. I'll let you have a listen to that in just a moment. But first, let's get on to the actual Formula 3 racing, because we've heard from Nick Vorm so far, Krish Mahadik, and Trevor Carling ahead of the racing. And here I am down in pit lane to actually review and preview what happened in the BRDC British F3 race number 1. Welcome to Brands Hatch. Yes, we are here for the latest round in the BRDC British Formula 3 Championship, and we're just speaking before race number 1, and on pole position for race number 1 of the weekend it is Mr. Enam Ahmed, who put in a fantastic pole position lap, which is about 1/10 of a second quicker than the man in second place. He's not getting out of his car to have a chit chat, but it is James Pull, and he's feeling really confident. He said on social media, on Twitter anyway. Could this possibly be his round? I'm speaking in hushed tones because he's within earshot, and I really don't want to jinx it. Let's hope it is. We'll find out in a few minutes' time just exactly if this race is to be James Pull's first win of the season. Interestingly, though, the man in third place as well did fantastically to get into third place, lying fourth in the championship. It is Ben Hinchley. Hello. How was quali?
Yeah, it was good. It was the little shower in the middle of it made it a bit interesting, but yeah, it was good.
How did you cope with that? What did you do?
Yeah, I mean, our plan was to stay in the pits a bit longer and just use one set, but the rain brought us out of it sooner than we wanted to be honest. But we did well. Third place, a 10th off these two, so it's very close. So fingers crossed for a good race.
I'm feeling a bit of tension in here. It's an unusual amount of tension. Am I right in thinking that?
No, I'm pretty relaxed, but I think it's just more with the tyre change and stuff like that. Everyone's a bit unsure about what the weather's doing. I think there's rain forecast for 4 o'clock, so which is in about 10 minutes' time, which is looking a bit dark around us. And then and everyone's sat on the grid on slick. So it might get very tense in about 10-15 minutes time.
I'm sure. Well, best of luck anyway, Ben, and we will perhaps see him on the podium once again. That'll be certainly interesting to see. I suppose this is called classic Callan Bants with some of the team bonding exercises with Callan O'Keefe. I suppose it would be rude not to, since I'm here talking at him. And Callan starting this race from 5th place now, and out qualifying his teammate Jordan. How's the car feeling?
Yeah, obviously it was our first time on the GP circuit, so everything's just kind of coming the more laps we do. But yeah, we should be in a strong position for the race. We'll keep pushing forward. Car feels good underneath me, and hopefully we can get in amongst it in the changing conditions.
And have you got a different tactic for the race from Jordan? I suppose you're expecting it to rain like most other people?
Yeah, the boys did an amazing job to turn it around and get everything back onto the setup we wanted. I'm not sure what he's running. It's all been a bit of a blur to get it all sorted, but our tactic is pretty simple. We're just going to send it and hopefully get a good result and move up a couple of places closer to that top step.
All right, well, nothing else to say, but good luck, I suppose. Callan, always good for a quick word on the grid, and there is his teammate who's starting this race in 6th position. Interestingly, Jordan Kane is the last person who was not Ben Hingley, Toby Sowery or Enem Ahmed to win a race in Formula 3. Back at Snetterton. That's how long ago this was, and he was the last man to do it on his debut weekend. He just turned 16 years old. He just signed for the team basically, and slam on. He got a reverse grid pole and a reverse grid win as well. So I'm just having a quick look around, and everybody is starting this race on slick tyres. It is due to sort of rain though, with the ominous dark clouds ahead. Most drivers sort of getting in their cars now, just focusing and concentrating on the race. Those are the main players up at the front, and it should be really interesting to see what happens. Will it rain? Will the 1st and 2nd and 3rd man end up 1st, 2nd and 3rd? Join us again in a couple of seconds. We'll be at the podium to fully dissect what happened in this first round at Brands Hatch in the BRDC British Formula 3 Championship. End of race number 1 here at Brands Hatch, and it ended rather abruptly with a red flag. What happened then, Ahmed?
The rain started to come down, which was not nice, especially on this track. I got a really good gap in the beginning of the race, and then I was just managing it from there. Then as the rain started to come down, I completely backed off the pace. With my championship position, it really wasn't worth throwing it off, so I took it easy. And then James was catching me. Obviously, he has nothing to lose. He was coming at me like a bat out of hell, and I had to speed up a little bit, but then luckily the safety car came out, so I was happy about that, because the rain got so bad at the end. It was so difficult to drive, so
in previous rounds you'd pinpointed this round as being maybe the most difficult for you in terms of getting a win, but you did do it. You ended up P1. But sort of only just because, you're right, James was really catching you, and we had a bit of a theory as well that if he was to catch you, and you wouldn't put up that much of a fight to protect your championship lead.
No, I don't think I wanted to go for the win, to be honest.
Given the conditions and everything,
if he was much quicker than me when he was catching me, so if a few more laps, maybe let's see what would have happened. But I don't know. Hopefully, maybe if tomorrow's wet, you might be able to see.
A win is another win, and there's only been, I think, 2 people, one of your teammate, who's won races other than you, Ben Hingley and Toby Sowery this season.
Yes, it's been an amazing job. Our team's done a really good job. I didn't expect to do this well this weekend because I knew it was going to be difficult for me, but let's see how tomorrow is. Still got a long weekend left, so let's see how tomorrow goes.
What does the weather forecast look like? Have you got a tactic in mind?
Just drive as fast as I can, no matter what condition. I don't know.
Well, it's another win anyway. Well done, and it's stretching the lead in the championship once again.
Yeah, it was really, really good. So let's see how tomorrow goes. I don't know. It's tough. We'll see how it goes.
End of race one, and it ended on a bit of a damp squib. What happened? Tell us.
Yeah, just slightly moist, but so we did the race normally, and then I think on my board I saw about 7 laps to go, or 7 minutes to go, and just started completely chucking it down. So that was interesting because no one was really expecting it. We saw a little bit of drizzle, but we didn't really slow down at all. And then it just started chucking it down, and we both went into turn one, and it was a bit hairy. But yeah, I'm just really annoyed because I think if I could have done one more lap, I caught right up to an arm at the end, and I absolutely love these conditions. So the fact that we didn't end on it was easily another win, or my first win, sorry. So yeah, I'm a bit frustrated with that, but second again, good points, good recovery from the bad start. I struggled a bit with the start because I knew that my sort of like lane was a bit wet, and made an awesome move on Hingeley around the outside at Hawthorns, and that was pretty cool. So yeah, got some positives, but yeah, just really, really frustrated.
Not your fault. You did literally everything you could have done. We saw the times where the gap between you and Enam was tumbling sector by sector. But there are 2 more races to go this weekend, so chin up.
Yeah, there's always going to be more races to do, but yeah, I'm just so annoyed because I can never get a break. Every time that the win's on the cards, something happens that isn't my fault, and there's nothing I can do. And it's just happened so many times this year that it's really annoying me because I just want to get my first win. But yeah, good job to the team. They provide me with a really good car, and just going to try my best again tomorrow.
You will do. I have no doubt about that. Well done, James, and be good to see you back on the podium again.
Yeah, hopefully I'll see you again. Yeah, thank you.
Cheers. Hello once again, Toby Sowry, another podium. Congrats.
Thank you. Not ideal though.
Not ideal. Everyone said that. They're always a little bit gutted that the race didn't see its final conclusion, because I think perhaps maybe like yourself would have expected to get a better position. Maybe, is that right?
It was hard. I don't think we had the pace in qualifying, but the racecraft and the race pace was really good. So I know I had the fastest lap. So I was hoping for the race to continue and not to rain. But after it did rain, I was hoping it would see all the way to the finish line. But unfortunately, it didn't. But they both stayed on in front of us, so good job as well.
Yeah, certainly. And just talk us through the dry part of the race before all the mayhem started, and it was red flag. From your point of view, you were making some pretty decent moves.
Yeah, it was great fun on my behalf. I got a pretty average start, managed to keep fourth, but Callum managed to hang around the outside and get up in front of me. Again, half a lap beside Callum seems to be where I always am this year, but no, it was a tough battle, and he gave fair ground, but I managed to get past him. And then, a pretty fun move on Ben, gave him a bit of a dummy, slipped it out the inside and came through on the other side.
It was fun to watch. We'll have to wait and see how that played out on the TV. Toby, another podium for you. It's good points. I'm not sure exactly where you're lying in the championship right now, but going into tomorrow's 2 races, you're leaving this race feeling a bit more upbeat, no doubt.
Yeah, definitely. Fastest lap and made 2 places on a track that you notoriously can't overtake on, so happy.
Well done. Congrats.
Thank you. Cheers.
And that is it, really. The race ended rather abruptly and with a huge downpour, and it saw a number of on-track casualties, even a couple of cars spinning and going off under the safety car before it was eventually red flagged. And it was much to the dismay of James Paul that, because he was catching, that the race didn't continue. But it was Enam Ahmed, who we just heard from, who managed to get another win, stretch his lead in the championship. What will happen tomorrow in race number 2 and 3? It's a reverse grid race, remember, race number 2, so anything could happen.
I have a logo, I have a name. My name is Dan.
This is Monday Motorsport with Lester Forbes on Motorsport Radio.
Hello and welcome. Yes, this is Monday Motorsport. We're live on Motorsport Radio, motorsport.radio. My name is Lester. Welcome. If this is your first experience of Motorsport Radio, then hello and thank you for tuning in live. And we definitely are live. To prove such, send me a comment right now at Motorsport Radio on Twitter or at Motorsport Radio on Facebook. And I will read it out, as long as it's clean, of course. Anyway, you just heard the backstage podium interviews from the BRDC British F3 Championship, and I can tell you about race 2 and race 3 later. But first, we've got loads more still to come, and we've got a very limited time in which to do it. Indeed. We've got Niall Murray, Stefan Hodges, Baz Linders coming up next, followed by lots of podium interviews that Danmar collected from behind the scenes, as if by magic. And then later on, Callan O'Keefe's 2 editions. I don't even know if we've got time to put the whole half hour in, to be honest, if Callan's watching or Jordan Kane is still tuned in. Either way, they will go out live on some... You know what? Sorry, we'll do both of them. We'll do it later. It's fascinating to see Callan O'Keefe let loose with a microphone in a Formula 3 paddock with hilarious consequences. Stay tuned for that. That's coming up. And also, Jordan Kane, as you may have seen on our social media channels, a little clip of him. Okay, if you haven't seen it, this is going to sound weird, but Jordan Kane attempting to lick Callan O'Keefe. See, I said it sounded weird, and I can't really describe it because it's even weirder. But anyway, so on to the British GT Championship, and we'll get back to British F3 next. And please welcome onto the show, it's Danmar once again. Hello, Dan. Welcome.
Good evening, Lester. Good evening, everyone.
Oh, you sound nice and clear today. You've correctly selected the mic.
Let's just move away and carry on.
Okay. Right. I shouldn't talk. I did a technical thing earlier. But anyway, good to have you back on the show.
Thank you.
Hello and good evening. How was your weekend?
Long.
Right. Well, that's good. Well, that's good to know, considering I was with you all weekend, and it's anyway. Myself and Dan were at Brands Hatch, and we were monitoring heavily the British Formula 3 and British GT Championships between us both. And there was coming into this round, it was possible, Dan, for one team to wrap things up, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it much like a lot of the season had been, obviously it could have been that at the start of the meeting, we could have had the championship decided in GT3 and in GT4, which is quite a surprise, really, considering how tight the racing's been throughout the course of the year. Of course, the number 33 Lamborghini, Phil Keane and John Minshaw, had, I think, a 12-point lead in the championship coming into it after some good racing at Spa. Of course, in GT4, it was very tight, just 2 points between the number 51 Lanham Racing car and the number 55 HSC Motorsport Ginetta. That's been an interesting dynamic in the championship. It's all been rather close. And it changed. I can't say any more because we'll do the review later.
Yeah, we will. We'll get onto
it's
that.
Dramatic.
Bit. It is dramatic, and Danmar has a behind the scenes interview and try and dissect everything as much as possible.
Where possible.
Yeah, before the weekend, before the I think just after qualifying it was, and before the actual race on Sunday, you caught up with a couple of big names. The first of one was making his debut in British GT. A very famous name who you should already know about, Niall Murray, being the reigning BRSCC Formula Ford 1600 national champion. He's the current champion from 2016, and he's struggled to find a drive. He went off to the Mazda Road to Indy series, having been the champion of the UK's national series, and he did brilliantly over there at the end of 2016, but has since failed to find a proper drive this year. He's had a couple of one-off appearances here and there in different things in Ireland and in Formula Fords again, and even at the Silverstone 24-hour earlier this year. But he's making his GT debut this weekend, Dan, and you caught up with him.
Yeah, British GT debut this weekend in the number 43 Century Motorsport Ginetta G55 GT4. Of course, Century were running both a GT3 Ginetta and a GT4 one. Sadly, though, Tom Hibbert binned it in free practice 1, and the Ginetta GT3 was no more. So sadly, we were down a GT one GT3 car. But Niall Murray, it was an interesting debut. We caught up with him after qualifying. He did a great lap to put him on provisional pole in his session. I believe they qualified third overall in GT4. So they had a great qualifying, him and Jack Tyson. So a great effort from the debut in British GT. We did chat to him, and I think we're going to play that now. So I'm joined by Niall Murray now, who's just taken, I think, pole in his session and third overall for the 2 hour race here at Brands Hatch on his British GT debut. Quite a lap.
Yeah, no, I'm delighted. It was first time driving in the wet. I only had 10 minutes to learn what it was going to be like. All the rest of the lads obviously have a fair bit of experience in the car, so no, very, very, very happy. There's still a lot of time left out there. The car was brilliant, thanks to Centuries and James the engineer and all the lads setting it up. It was absolutely spot on. Could have gone a lot quicker out there. There was just so much grip, but I didn't know what the limit was, so I didn't want to throw it off for Jacob getting in next. So yeah, no, I'm happy enough, and he did a great job as well. He started the session on wets. It was kind of touch and go whether it was going to be wets or slicks. And straight away knew it was kind of the wrong call, so Jacob came in straight away, and unfortunately lost about 5 minutes there. So when he went out, there was only less than 5 minutes left in the session, so he did a great job to come home. I think it was less than 2 seconds off, but on a drying track on slicks it's not easy. So yeah, P3 overall, it's looking good.
Of course, we saw you earlier on at Creventic at the 24-hour in the Ginetta G50 GT4. Yeah. What are the differences between the G50 and the G55?
How long do you have? It's no, it was a Ginetta G50, but it wasn't anything like this Ginetta here. So it was good to drive a GT car. It was my only other time ever driving a GT car. So that was good, but again, nothing like this.
And is this your first time on the Grand Prix circuit? I know you've raced here in Formula Fords before, but
yeah, no, I didn't do the Grand Prix in Formula Fords, but I did the Grand Prix in Ginetta Juniors a couple of 5 years ago. So I've done it before, so that wasn't too tricky. Obviously, you have to kind of relearn it. It's a lot of blind crests and very fast corners at the back, so it's not something you can just jump into after not being here for 5 years. But yeah, I got a few laps earlier on the dry, and it was within 8/10 or so on our new tyre run compared to the other lads on new tyres as well, which there's a bit more time in it, but hopefully tomorrow will be alright.
And of course, I believe you'll be jumping in second in the car. See the pros get in later on in the race, so that must be a new angle getting into a car and having to take it all the way to the finish. I know it's only an hour long stint effectively for you, but it's still going to be tricky with obviously faster cars and other traffic around as well.
I'm actually so we're both for the silver, but I was in the AM session in qualifying, so I'll start the race. Obviously with silver you can kind of choose who goes in what, and the guys just said obviously Jacob has been driving the car all year, so it just makes more sense for me to go into the AM session. So yeah, I'll be starting the race and then coming in after an hour, and Jacob will be hopping in.
Right, so ignore me for that one. Okay, so of course you qualified in the AM session, so starting the race then, that must be, sort of talk us through what you're going to have to go through in order to sort of really set the race for the car.
Yeah, it'll be a lot different to anything I've done before. I've never done a roll start before. We have warm up in the morning. Hopefully either myself or Jacob will do it. We made a couple of changes from earlier on. This is a brand new car. Obviously, the car was damaged badly in Spa, so there's a brand new car. So earlier on, we had to play around with it a good bit. So and a lot of red flags in practice sessions. So we didn't get much testing. So hopefully I can make the most of the 10-minute warm up, and the car will be spot on for me starting the race. And hopefully, obviously, I'm out with the AMs and 3 or 4 other silver pairings. So hopefully, I can be leading by the time I come in.
It's going to be an interesting one. Are you feeling comfortable in the car then?
Yeah, loving the car. Yeah. It's come on a bit from the start of the first session earlier on. It was, as I said, a new car, so the setup that the guys had been running wasn't really working. Myself and Jacob just didn't really have much confidence driving it. So we did make a lot of changes. Each time we made a change, and made it 10 times better. The guys at Century are doing an absolutely brilliant job, and it's hopefully the car. We're making another change tomorrow, and hopefully it'll work.
Are you looking to do Donington for the finale then, or?
Yeah, that's the plan. The plan was to come in this round and do Donington as well. So hopefully all goes to plan.
GT's maybe a more permanent fixture on your calendar next year.
We'll see. Look, I'm I'm open to do anything. I'd literally jump in, I'd jump in a pedal cart and go around. I don't care, whatever I drive, it doesn't matter. I just love racing. So I'm doing the Northern Irish Formula 4 Championship, leading that at the minute. So if I win that, I go over to the Road to Indy again. And obviously if I win that, I get $200,000 to do USF 2000. So that's on the cards as well. But yeah, it's great to do a bit of GT to get a bit more on the CV, So if we're trying to knocking on doors of teams, we can say we're experiencing this, experiencing that. So just keeping our cards open.
Well, it's certainly going to be interesting. Well, thank you, Niall. Best of luck for tomorrow, and hopefully it's going to be a good result for you.
Yep, thanks very much.
Fascinating to hear from the reigning national BRSCC Formula Ford 1600 national champion, Niall Murray, and you heard there he's still very much actively involved in, I think he said, Northern Irish Formula Ford, and also he has dabbled, as I mentioned earlier, in some other Ginetta racing. In the past, notably he did attempt the Silverstone 24-hour at the as part of the 24-hour series as well. Dan Marr of logo and name fame is still here with us on the show, and that was a great chat with Niall, and we'll get on to how well he did, or the team did, a bit later when we get to the GT results, if you don't know. And also we'll mention, should we mention about Front Runner? I think we will. It's coming. Because you probably know what I'm going to say, if you know.
We do.
Because you're probably thinking the same thing, and you're probably right to think. Anyway, we'll get onto that later. But also, Dan, you had a chat just after qualifying with, I think, or maybe before qualifying. No,
this was before qualifying.
Yeah, Garage 59's Baz Linders. Tell us more.
So Baz Linders, a big man in GT racing, of course, used to help run Mark VDS Racing before he left due to different decisions in the team. He then eventually went to go and join McLaren, and then at some point, he then joined Garage 59, which isn't McLaren at all. No. So
it's definitely not, but it is.
It's definitely not McLaren. So he's part of Garage 59 full time now, and isn't involved with McLaren. And we asked him about McLaren, but he wouldn't know. So, so we asked about Garage 59, how the event was going, their thoughts. Crucially, of course, the big news coming in. Or last week, or the week, whenever the Spa 24 was, it was last week, wasn't it? Where the GT4 grids are going to be separated for 2018. So some races they will have, or some meetings they will have separate races for GT4 and GT Cup, which are effectively the Ferrari Challenge and the Lamborghini Super Trofeo. It's those kinds of cars. And then GT4 will have their own races, and then some races they'll be together on the same bill and in the same race itself, and then some races they'll just be GT4 or GT3, like Thruxton is going to be on the bill. I actually asked Baz about that, and he's not been in quite a while, which I don't think he liked being reminded. But so it's an interesting chat. So just have a listen to Baz, and I do ask him some peculiar questions. But I'm a journalist; that's what we're paid to do. Well, I say paid.
Yeah, and here is Baz talking about those things.
Baz Linders, team principal of Garage 59. Not a great first session as we look the number 100 behind us. Gravel coming out the back. What happened?
Well, Kieran just got passed by the Ferrari, the green Ferrari, and then it went really early on the brakes, surprisingly early. So to avoid it, he had to go on the outside, touched the grass, and then went into the gravel. So it wasn't at all his fault. So he's very unlucky. Actually, he did a good job not hitting the Ferrari because it was like on the brakes far too early.
It's a shame. They've been running quite well. Hopefully not too much damage on the car.
No, it's just mainly gravel, so we need to get the gravel out. It'll take a bit of time, so we might miss the beginning of the second session, but all in all, it should be okay.
It's going to be an interesting weekend, of course. A 2-hour race this weekend for the British GT Championship here at Brands Hatch. Is the McLaren well suited to Brands Hatch, or?
Well, yes, I mean, last year we were here, it was the very first race of the season, and we performed quite well. We had two drivers, especially Sandy Mitchell, who was like really new. It was his first ever race in GT racing. So that was like, well, not easy for him, but I mean, we still had a good result in the end, so we're quite happy with that. So yeah, it should be okay. I mean, the twisty parts is more suited for the Ginetta. It's lighter, and yeah, they have a bit of an advantage there. But then, okay, the faster corners, we should be okay there. So there's a bit of mix, so I think it will be a close competition.
Well, it's been a great battle with the McLarens and the Ginettas throughout the season. It really shown the differences in this GT4 category between the two cars.
I mean, yeah, I mean, the good thing about these SRO championships in general is also the BOP, because then in that way you can have many different kind of cars with front engine, rear engines, with a lot of horsepower, less horsepower, and then they sort of balance everything out so that you can actually every weekend you have a chance of winning the race, which is really good, because that's what the drivers and the sponsors and the teams are there for.
Of course, I suppose you got some data to go off from the McLaren's trip at the GT4 Euro Series when it was supporting Blancpain early on in the year.
Well, unfortunately, at Garage 59, we don't have the info of the teams that ran here in the European Championship, but we know the cars were performing quite well then, so it gives us an idea for what we need to achieve this weekend.
And it's an interesting one. You mentioned SRO Championships. Of course, at last week's Spa 24, it was announced that British GT for most rounds going to have separate GT4 and GT3/C grids. What were your first reactions to that?
Well, if you see the GT4 grid is growing every year, and it's very interesting this year. And obviously, there's extra new cars coming for the future. There might even be more McLarens into this championship, but there's always the new BMW, the new Mercedes. So yeah, there's interesting car, the new Audi, interesting cars coming. So I think the grid will grow. So it's completely normal that it will have a standalone grid. And apparently, there's also good interest in GT3. So yeah, I think it's good for British motor racing in general.
It's going to be great to see Thruxton potentially on the bill for that. Thoughts?
Well, the last time I set foot in Thruxton was 1995 when I did Formula Ford myself. And I mean, it's an interesting circuit. It's fast. I mean, yeah, it has potential to produce good races. So yeah, why not? I mean, some of the tracks in the UK are challenging, but that's good. I drive the tracks. I like that. So, but obviously, then sometimes runoff, etc., is not as you would have at the Formula One rated circuit. So, but I think it's still good racing. Cars are quite safe now, so should be okay.
It's going to be a challenge, but it's going to be an interesting one. You mentioned GT3 as well. Of course, no McLarens on the grid in GT3 this season. You're hoping to get one out maybe for Donington Park at the end of the season, and do you think we're going to see a couple in GT3 next year?
Well, I don't know. I mean, at the moment it's not our plan, but obviously if there's drivers interested in doing the last race, then yeah, we can always look at it, but at the moment it's not in the plan, but we will see about next year.
And just in general for Garage 59, are you going to expand maybe to 3 cars next year, or is 2 enough for you guys?
Well, I like to. 3 is possible, but that would be a maximum, I would say. So yeah, that could be one of the options, but it's still far too early to say.
But it is great to see the growth of GT4 in general, as you mentioned earlier.
Yes, of course. I mean, GT4 is the way to go. I think it's a little bit more affordable than GT3, but the racing is really good. There's some good drivers, and especially for young drivers coming from maybe single-seaters and wanting to have a GT career, this is, I think, the first good step that they should take.
Well, as you said, of course, Kieran and Sandy had careers in BRDC F4 at the time before they came to McLaren with this driver development programme. And I think it's sort of really shown what McLaren are doing for young drivers, not just in single-seaters.
Yes, of course. I mean, I mean, we have a good GT3 car where we were Blancpain Endurance champion last year, but also champion all around the world. And so I think this is it's important then for McLaren as a brand McLaren GT, to have some young drivers coming up, and that we can like help them evolve themselves, and then hopefully they become a works driver at one point.
And Garage 59 looking at other races in Europe or around the world even, or is it just going to stay in Britain and British GT?
Well, we do GT Open, of course, with two cars, the second year in a row. But I mean, we always look at all the options, and then it's only like close to end of the season that you know what you're going to do. But you should keep all the options open all the time.
Is there anywhere you'd like to take the team, Bathurst, maybe for their 12-hour, or?
I mean, there's many races where it would be nice to go to. I mean, obviously everybody wants to go to Bathurst, maybe even Le Mans or Laguna Seca and things like that. So, but I mean, you need to find the sponsorship, the budgets, the drivers to want to do it. So maybe one day it will all come together.
And of course, it's interesting you mentioned Le Mans. Of course, McLaren's always tied in with GTE. Of course, the new regulations come into force a year ago. It's sort of expanded with BMW coming in. Do you think McLaren might be looking at a GTE program? Is it being considered? Is it even?
Well, everybody knows that in the past it has been looked at, but then it was shelved, and at the moment, for as far as I know, it's still shelved at the moment. So, but maybe long term there might be a McLaren back, but I mean it won't be for next year, that's for sure.
Well, it's certainly going to be interesting. Thank you, Baz. Best of luck, and hopefully you can get all the gravel out there.
Yeah, thank you. We will.
And he did in the end. Yes, only him. He had a long weekend. Baz Linders there chatting to Dan Marr here on Monday Motorsport on motorsport.radio. We are live right now, unless you're watching this and it's not on Monday, in which case we're not live. But hello and welcome anyway. And do give us a like and a share, and even join up to our website. And as a listener at motorsport.radio, get the exclusive first news and exclusive behind the scenes gossip before it hits the rest of the world. So all the inside news and stuff that we get, we will potentially tell you if we're allowed. I'll say that. But join up to motorsport.radio, a very small niche community of listeners. I can't think of what else to call it, but it's a good website and the only place to go for motorsport.radio related stuff as well. My name is Lester. Dan Marr is still here and still to come on the show. Find out exactly why Jordan Kane was attempting to lick the back of Callan's neck in Formula 3. Don't know why, but Callan was... yeah, that's an interesting one. That's all I'll tease you with, basically. But yeah, that's still to come. A comprehensive Formula 3 review with myself and a preview of Race 3 with Callan O'Keefe. Yes, racing driver turned...
Did he actually talk about any of the racing? Or did he just go about talking gobbledygook?
A bit of both. A lot of both, actually. But it's quite hilarious, and it's coming up very, very soon. So do not miss that. Get your retweets at the ready, and do like and share that. Yeah, because it's going to be pretty good. But yeah, so back to British GT Championship, and we've still not got onto the actual race yet, which I'm presuming you must have watched. But still building the tension. Dan Marr is still here, and Baz Linders had a good few interesting things to say. He's definitely not McLaren, as you say, but also with a few good opinions. Not only about British GT and the new GT4 category that's being unleashed in 2018, but about the BTCC folks, let's say, and that's Stefan Hodges.
Yes, well, I wouldn't say unleashing a new GT4 category because it's been around for 10 years, but
well, in its own right, yeah.
The massive, as you do say though, it's been a massive expansion over the last 2 or 3 years. And it is, as Baz Linders mentioned a few moments ago, of course, we've got big brands such as just a couple of weeks ago, we got Mercedes, we got Audi, we got BMW, all confirmed to be coming in. McLaren's obviously still got the new car. You never know. Ginetta might come out with something new to react. Aston Martin, have also got their venerable Vantage V8, and that might well be changing soon with the new car coming in, much like a GT3 car. And there might be even more people coming out there. So KTM, Sign, all them, and more. We might see them in UK next year. And I think a few people were telling me this weekend that they think that some of the top European GT4 teams will come over to British GT to do the British GT Championship. It is, as it is, one of the biggest GT championships in the world, national GT championships in the world. And yeah, so Stefan Hodgetts, who is helping GPRM, of course, the people who used to make all the control parts for the British Touring Car Championship, the first iteration of the NGTC regulations. They've also been developing, over the past few years, a Toyota GT86. This weekend, running in the... It's not a shock. It's been around for quite a while. I'm not going to make any jokes. But the good thing is, they've been out for the past few meetings, and it's been working almost well. And Stefan Hodgetts had a lot of time for us. He's a very good, interesting chat about touring cars. You say the touring cars and GT and the differences in the packages, and his thoughts about how it can all develop later on in the next few years. But of course, he's driving the Toyota GT86 by GPRM. We had a chat with him after qualifying. Safe to say he was quite happy.
So I'm now joined by Stefan Hodgetts in the invitational class with the Toyota GT86. We've seen a couple of iterations of the car over the past few seasons. Second time, I believe, we've seen it out this season. How's it working?
Well, we're just doing quali there, and in my session in the pro category, we actually qualified second. And we're fifth overall, so we've done a lot of hard work with the car, and we're making really, really good progress. And yeah, she's ready to race, and we're really looking forward to tomorrow.
It's quite an interesting car, of course. It's unlike some GT4 cars out there. It's a little less road going compared to others. What sort of modifications have you done to the Toyota GT86 to sort of get the amount of power you need out of it, for example?
Well, if you imagine all these, I get a bit into trouble here, but these so-called GT4 cars like McLarens and Mercedes and stuff like that, obviously a little Toyota GT86, you have to do a fair bit of work to her to get it up there, and that's why it's been such a long project now. But we've finally got there. It's not like a road car at all. It's a proper beast, and it's a proper weapon of a car, and we're just going to keep developing it, making it faster and faster, and have a full assault and ready for next year.
And I imagine you're going to be looking at national GT4 homologation for next year, or a bit like the Jaguar and Blancpain, where you're just doing little bits to it continually.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be going to the BOP test in February with the car to get it all done correctly. And then, yeah, next year should be a lot of fun.
It's an interesting one. 2 hours, tough test, especially around Brands Hatch. A lot of GT3 cars to contend with as well as GT4 cars. Some championship battles might be interfering with. I suppose that's got to add to the fun.
Yeah, I mean, you say a lot of GT3 cars. There's 10 of them. I think GT4 is where it's at now, isn't it? Totally. The racing's awesome in GT4, and yeah, we're just going to look forward to it. Yeah, it's a 2-hour race. We had Silverstone as our last race because we didn't go to Spa, and we lasted the 3 hours there. So yeah, we're looking forward to 2 hours tomorrow. It should be quite good. But yeah, definitely GT4 is where all the battling and all the action is going to be tomorrow, definitely.
And it's interesting, next year, of course, we're going to have a separate grid for GT4 cars, so we could maybe even have 30-odd GT4 cars on their own, so that would be an interesting challenge. It would literally be David versus Goliath, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think GT4 is the future for GT racing in this country. The cars are correct for the circuits that we're racing on. It's close, there's battles, it's more interacting with the fans, I think, with the cars that you can have. They're a bit more relative to road cars and that.
A bit more. I mean, you've still got McLarens and stuff.
Yeah, but some people can buy a McLaren. I can't, but some people can. But no, I do think GT4 is definitely a future for GT racing in this country, and yeah, we're going to start getting some. I think we're going to start getting some big crowds at these circuits, and it's all going to take off pretty sharpish, and it's going to be a lot of fun to be part of it.
And Thruxton on the calendar provisionally for next year for GT4 as well. I've been asking people all day about their reactions to that. So
Yeah, well, it'd be ace, wouldn't it? It's better than going to Knock Hill. So, yeah, let's go. Like, hell yeah, it'll be fast, it'll be fun, it'll be frantic, but, you know, and, hey, Thruxton's one of the best circuits in the country for getting a massive crowd down there as well. So I'm really looking forward. Yeah, that event, for me, that'll be the highlight of the year, to be honest, to go to Thruxton. Proper circuit, proper fast cars, and like I say, down south there is a big catchment area, and there'll be a big crowd. It'll be proper, that will. Yeah, let's go to Thruxton. Let's do it. Yeah.
Is there a lot of support actually for Toyota from the actual factory or the UK division of the company, or is it just sort of providing shells, or is it just saying, yeah, you can use a Toyota?
No, we don't have any factory backing. They want to be more involved in a touring car, which is less like a road car. So they're choosing to go down that path, which, you know, that's fair enough. We're running a Toyota though, and we'll do a great job with it, and we'll just hopefully do the company proud and keep pushing and get some results with the Toyota.
And you mentioned touring cars. Obviously, you raced in the Clio Cup for quite a few years. I remember Sally had quite a sizable shot into the pit wall here one year in 2012. But what's it like, the differences between the Toyota package and the British GT package, if you must?
Each package is a bit different, but both are very, very professional at the high level, at British GT and at touring car level. The support races, they differ a bit, but certainly at the top level, they're both extremely professional. We just need to get some folks into these GT meetings. We need to get some people through the gates, show them a good time, which I think GT4 will do, because we'll have a lot more battles and it'll be a bit more touring car-esque. You know, we're not going to start smashing into each other like those guys, but we're going to have some good, close, proper racing. So, yeah, both of them, they're both the pinnacle of British motorsport, along with British superbikes. You know, those are the three proper formulas that go around, really. And yeah, I'm just proud and excited to be part of British GT now. Definitely, it's a lot nicer car to drive than the Clio. It's a hell of a lot faster, I promise you that. Yeah.
It's an interesting comparison. You say some of the support races are different. Obviously, next year the BRSCC are introducing TCR UK. That's exploded in popularity.
You want even more controversial comments out of me now, don't you, with TCR? You want me to go?
Have you got any more? Have you got?
Like have you like battle? You want me to go in that? Yeah.
Well, I wasn't trying to go for that. I was just wondering what you thought of the.
Say, boss. Yeah. Hey, I don't know. If there's more motorsport in the UK that brings more fans to watch more motorsport, then all good. But what we certainly don't want is to see championships diluted and starting to have, you know, only 10, 12 cars on the grid. That's not what you want to see. But as long as they both work together and make it proper somehow, and they've both got decent grids, then more motorsport is more fun, isn't it?
Do you think, actually, that's an interesting point. Do you think it could tie in well with the British GT and the R3 Championships? You know, sort of a bit for all the family, with big saloon cars racing against, and then there's Formula cars, and then obviously you've got the GT cars as well. Do you think that could be an interesting package, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's already a very interesting package. But yeah, they can add to it with the TCR series, and yeah, it'd be good, wouldn't it? More racing for the fans to watch, and yeah, that's just benefit for everybody, really. More people for you to talk to, you know.
Well, thank you very much, Stefan. We're not trying to drag you too much into controversial comments.
Don't mind, we'll do it. We're getting it. Yeah, feet in deep. Like, let's go. We're as you can tell, I'm having a lot of fun being here, and I'm really looking forward to the race tomorrow. That was a pretty fun quali session, because we were, you know, on slicks in damp conditions that were getting drier. So I had a lot of fun there, and I would just, yeah, like I said, really looking forward to tomorrow. Get a good night's sleep now, and just go and send the thing tomorrow.
Well, it's great to see you having so much fun. Well, thank you, Stefan. Best of luck for tomorrow.
Cheers, boys. Thanks very much. Cheers.
Great to hear from Stefan Hodgetts, head of the 2-hour British GT race at Brands Hatch over the weekend. And yeah, he was in high spirits and had a lot to say about TCR and the new GT4 category that's being sort of expanded from British GT. Which is almost kind of universally popular, certainly with the drivers. I've not heard anyone say that they don't want it or anything bad about it. Maybe we've not talked to them, I don't know. But certainly it's, by all accounts, a good move, including a return to Thruxton as well, Dan.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. I mean, we look at how quick the touring cars go around Thruxton, add another 30 to 40 miles an hour onto that, and you're going to have GT4 cars going around there. It's going to be quick. It's going to be seriously quick, and it'll be exciting. I think it'll be quite entertaining. But the people I spoke to, only one person I spoke to last week, and that was Alex Reed, only had a negative thing to say, but it wasn't, because of the circuit. And in fact, I won't say why. If you go onto our Facebook on facebook.com/motorsportradio and on Twitter and all the rest of it, and on motorsport.radio, you'll be able to see later on in the week when I had a very good chat with Alex Reed, and he discusses why he does not like Thruxton.
Ooh, can't wait for that. Yes, do check it out. And also, it's on motorsport.radio as well, later in the week, in a couple of days. But yeah, on to the actual race itself, Dan. And I'm sure there was loads of fireworks and high drama, and what actually happened?
Yes, there was. The biggest thing, the championship changed.
How?
So, let's go back to, I think, lap number 10. It was at the start, and, John Minshaw was doing his thing. He was doing all right. He was in the lead. James
nothing happened at the start?
In second place. Not particularly, no.
Okay.
I'm telling the story. Just bear with me.
Sorry.
So, we go to lap 10. It's all fine. John Minshaw got a good start. James Littlejohn started to catch up a bit, but that was fine. And then John Minshaw, coming into Graham Hill Bend, the number 14 McLaren 750S GT4. John Minshaw decided to go right, and the Aston Martin decided to go left. The McLaren also decided to go right, and then the Lamborghini goes onto the grass, goes wide, loses the lead, and it all went downhill from there for them. And, well, I think 4th place in the end of the race. In fact, no, they actually finished down in 5th place, the number 33 Barrow Motorsport car. They had a really difficult race for them. Just couldn't hook it in. They just said they just couldn't really hook it in. It wasn't feeling very strong. But critically, the winners of the race is the Team Parker Racing number 31 Bentley of Rick Parfitt Jr. and Seb Morris. Rick Parfitt on form, great first stint for him, and Seb Morris doing what he normally does and just going flat out and winning. So a great race from them. They won by 33.8 seconds over 2 hours ahead of the number 6 Barrow Motorsport car. A great result for Sam Tordoff and Liam Griffin. Liam Griffin especially had some really good start to the race, but I think they're really looking for one more step, and I think they could do it at Donington Park. But with Mark Farmer and John Barnes taking 3rd place, another good result for them, but again they felt like they could be quite close. Let's put this into comparison. And the top, first to second was covered by 33 seconds. It was less than 3 seconds that covered the number 1 TF Sport car, Derek Johnson and Johnny Adam, and of course the number 33 car at the end in GT3. It was very close, a tight race, difficult for traffic, and it was interesting, but not the most amount happened, especially with only 10 cars. And then it got even more dramatic in GT4. All the things happened. Another thing that happened in GT4, that when I spoke to Alex Reed, one of the things he did say is he's immensely proud of the 100% finishing rate they've had all season. Matt Nicol-Jones, who's from Academy of Motorsport, was also saying the Aston Martin very well shown over the years, very reliable, very good, handy car. So within 20 minutes, Will Moore in the Academy of Motorsport Aston Martin, it was a great start. They had a great start, instantly the GT4, and then the car broke and pulled over to the side at Pilgrim's Drop, which caused a safety car, which also caused GT3 musings to happen, but not a lot happened there. So that one broke down, and then we got to I think it was around about half mid-distance, and David Pittard in the number 51, the car just went a bit, and that came into the pits.
Is that the technical term for it?
Yeah, the technical term is... so they pulled it into the garage, fixed it for a bit, put it back onto the apron, realised it was still broken and retired the car, which meant that they didn't finish. Well, actually, no, they didn't technically retire because they were circulating around. There were 14 laps off the GT4 race winner, and they were a solid 8 laps off the GT4 race winner, GT3 race winner, of course, down 80 laps completed by Seb Morris and Rick Parfitt. And in other rather interesting and tasty news, Macmillan AMR, of course, we mentioned they were in the lead, but they didn't win. They weren't even on the podium. Well, what happened? The throttle started sticking open, which never fun. And I think James Littlejohn had a slight panic going through Hawthorns as the throttle was nailed open. They saying it was intermittent, but they just retired it anyway. But yeah, it was a massive shame for them because it was a strong result and it could have gone oh so well. And of course, shame, but these things happen in motor racing.
Yeah, they do, unfortunately. Where did Niall Murray and his team end up? What happened with them?
So, of course, in the end, in GT4, it was the number 42 Macmillan AMR car who took the race win not too long until the end of the race, but it was their debut win for William Phillips and Jan Jonk. The number 56 Tolman Motorsport car, the McLaren, got a good second place with David Patterson and Joe Osborne. HHE Motorsport, very late on, second last lap, took third place away from, of course, Kieran Haggerty and Sandy Mitchell's Garage 59 car. And then Kieran Haggerty went straight on at Paddock Hill Bend on the last lap, losing fourth place and losing a whole host of positions, which was a real shame for them. So Century Motorsports car, of course, Niall Murray and Jacob Tyson finished in 18th place overall, which is, I think, 8th in GT4 or 8th or 9th in GT4, which isn't a bad deal, to be fair. Over a 2-hour race, they got their heads down, they got on with the job. It wasn't horrendously bad, so they just went out, had a bit, enjoyed it, and I think we'll see them out again in Donington Park, because that could be another competitive one for them. Of course, 2 other notable results: the GPRM car, which the obviously the Stefan Hodges car, we spoke to them just a few moments ago, and that finished in 14th place overall in the Invitational class, because it's not GT4 homologated yet. That sort of pulled over to the side of the track and had to Control-Alt-Delete, but that carried on. And 2 series debutants, Rob Boston Racing in the number 89 Ginetta G55 GT4. Jason Baker and Adam Gore finished in 16th place, which is a very respectable position. And they could have been oh so higher, just 6 or 7 seconds ahead of the road. They could have been 14th place. It's very tight indeed. And it's all set it up rather nicely for the decider at Donington Park, where John Minshaw and Phil Keane, after we jinxed them at Silverstone at the Classic, he didn't want to think about it. I mentioned it, and no, we did.
No, you did. I was just merely there.
No, you can't cop out of this one. But yes, so it's a it's interesting, and we know they've got formers too struggling at Donington occasionally.
Don't say any more, because I'm sure he'll thank you for it. Yeah. So just swiftly moving on from that. The next round is at Donington. And when is it? And what can we look forward to?
September the 21st. And we're going to look forward to another 2-hour British GT race, the final race of the season, round 10 of 10. Which has been... It feels like it's not been too long since we started the season.
Yeah,
but
it feels
obviously,
like we've just literally only just started. It feels like...
See, that's the thing. You know. It's the fact that we got through Snetterton, which was only the 3rd meeting, and yet, that was back in May, and we were halfway through the championship.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, it sort of feels like that.
Lester Forbes does counting live on air. That's never going to end well, is it?
I'm just a bit disappointed in that it's already almost the end of the season already, and yeah, I want more racing. Basically, can life last a bit longer, please? I don't know.
Well, before we start getting onto the semantics of what you're looking for in life, let's put this into perspective. We've still had We've had 6 hours of 1 hour racing. We've had 2 2-hour races, and then we've had a 3-hour race and another 2-hour race. So there has been a lot of on-track action in these short times. It's just a shame they're only condensed to one meeting. But then again, I love the diversity in the format of the British GT Championship, because we get variety with the 1 hour sprint races, 2 hours longer endurance races and, of course, a big 3-hour race at Silverstone. I think that's what makes the championship such an interesting one, because we get the diversity and the chance and the choice, and we get to see what goes on. It's I think I like it. I think it's quite entertaining. But
well, I like it too. Yeah, it's just that it doesn't feel like we're at the last round already, and we are. So hey ho. So points then, Dan. The championship points. You mentioned the change in the championship. If it's polite to say an unexpected change, because we didn't expect the championship leaders to struggle.
No, we didn't. We didn't expect the big switch. We expected that Seb Morris and Rick Parfitt could close up.
Yeah,
it could be even on points, but not reverse it. So Rick Parfitt and Seb Morris have a 10.5 point lead over John Minshall and Phil Keane. They are the only two who can win the championship in GT3. That's fine. Third place in British GT3 is quite tight though. Liam Griffin and Sam Todd off on 116 points. Derek Johnson and Johnny Adam are on 113 points. 108.5 for John Barnes and Mark Farmer. 107.5 for Jack Mitchell and James Littlejohn. And then if Duncan Cameron and Matt Griffin were to win at Donington Park as well, they could get quite close up in that as well on 92.5 points. So it's all tasty and all quite tight. And of course, the top two are really going to be thinking about the championship. It's a very difficult circuit, Donington, and we've seen history before. You make one bad mistake at Donington, you can be straight in the barriers. You know, we've seen GT4 cars going into the side of GT3 cars in the most unexpected of moments, which has affected the championship. And Donington makes a very dramatic title decider in British GT. This is just fact. But it's all changed in GT3. GT4 is also quite interesting. They 2 points separated Alex Reid and David Pittard and Stuart Middleton and Will Tregurtha coming into the round, but of course it now means that there's a much bigger gap, because Stuart Middleton and Will Tregurtha on 158 points, Alex Reid and David Pittard on 133. Now, of course, 2 DNFs for Stuart Middleton and Will Tregurtha as opposed to the 1 for Alex Reid and David Pittard. So they've got to hope that maybe there could be another one for Stuart and Will. That could really help David and Alex, but we'll wait and see. Looking at the points as well, further down, Adam Ballon and Adam Mackay in the Track Club 72 McLaren, who've had a fantastic season, a few DNFs, but they could have been really up there if they got a good chance. They are in third place. Fourth place is Will Phillips and Jan Jonk, fresh from that win at Brands Hatch on 98.5. 97.5, Graham Johnson and Mike Robinson, of course, the two who started in Ginetta, now went over to the McLaren. 94 points for Sandy Mitchell and Kieran Haggerty. 84 points for David Patterson and Joe Osborne in 7th place. And then it's looking tight. And it's looking tight. It's looking interesting. The only important other one to think about is the Blancpain Gentleman Trophy classification,
which is
it's for people. Basically, the AM drivers, or the gentleman drivers as they're referred to in some cars in GT4, get points towards the trophy which they'll win in the end of the season. So Rick Parfitt leads that on 196.5 points. 190 points has got John Minshaw, so that's a bit tighter than the real championship, but third place is looking quite interesting. It's a few points between Derek Johnson on 124, 123.5 for Mark Farmer, and 122 for Liam Griffin. So, and then Ian Logie and Lee Mole in 8th and 9th. They're at 1 point away, but of course Ian Logie is racing. Lee Mole is withdrawn the AMD car, of course, suffering from chassis damage after its crash at Silverstone. They didn't really discover it until after Spa, and they've withdrawn for the rest of the season, so we won't be seeing them out again, which is a big shame.
Oh yes, it certainly is. And Dan, before we move swiftly on to the final couple of races in British F3, your thoughts on the weekend and the British GT Championship round?
It was close. It was great racing. We always expect great racing for the British GT Championship. It's going to go down to the wire, and we don't know what's going to happen. We can't predict what's going to happen. We got 6 weeks until something happens. We just don't know what to say. We can't say because we don't want to jinx it, because I did a lot of that over the weekend and I don't want to do it again. So, but it's going to be tight. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, but
I'm not, because
apart from saying a race is going to happen.
Well, no, I physically can't, because we saw in 2015. I believe in 2015, Jamie Chadwick and I think it was John Minshaw, but it could have been someone else, had contact which took out the GT4 through G3 championship leader. You know, we've seen in years gone by engine failures. We've seen, you know, just people not being able to get out of the race. We've had clean races, we've had difficult races, long races, we've had lots of safety cars. You know, I can't make an accurate prediction because we just don't know what's going to happen. You know, the Bentley can either have a really good day or a really bad day. When Phil Keen's on it, he's seriously on it. When John Minshaw's on it, he's seriously on it. They're all going to be at the top of their game, but we can't equate for what's going to happen because Donington just brings up this kind of racing where you just can't say what's going to happen because you'll look a fool after race one when, you know, oh, that person's flown off there and that person didn't make the grid and, you know, it's big drama because this happened. GT4 as well. I think the McLarens are going to really suit Donington Park, but we don't really know. Is it going to be Lamborghini? Is it going to be Bentley at the top of the championship? Well, I'd say the Lamborghini suits Donington Park better, but we are going to wait and see until we come out of free practice 1 for the British GTs because we just can't call it. And I'm not even going to use my data that I used from the GT Cup early on in the year because, well, Graham Davidson is just a machine in the McLaren, but it's going to be tight. It's going to be close. The British GT Championship, I wouldn't be surprised if it went to the last quarter of the last lap of the last race. You know, that's just what we do. But
that would be good to see. Yeah, certainly. And
you know, I reckon it could happen. You know, that's my prediction.
Okay, that's what's going to happen. One thing that I've been keeping my eye on all season, and unfortunate that it's not happened yet, is a return to the GT Championship for Abby Eaton. She was, I understand, extremely close to getting a last-minute deal for the first round at Alton Park at the start of the season, and potentially subsequently at a couple of other races throughout the season as well. She did say yesterday on Sunday afternoon, someone give me an offer I can't refuse regarding the final round at GT. Alex Reed says, why don't you drive the Maserati? Which would be interesting. Because we know that the Ebor Gum team and is looking for someone to drive it, and that's someone who's previously drove it, and could she cause a bit of an upset? Who knows? I don't want to, but I just...
The Maserati had a very good season last year. The issue is, of course, there's no money. You know, Ebor GT, like most commercial racing teams, are looking for money. You know, Abby Eaton brings some money, and she's had a good season in the AM category in Blancpain. But that's a big step up to GT3 and a whole different car compared to a Maserati, which either has a really good day or a really bad day. And it had a very good day at Spa, but of course it hadn't been British GT BOP'd because it's not raced this year. So if it comes to Donington, it could be at risk of being uncompetitive because it was so much quicker than everything else at Spa.
Yeah, well, that could have also been the drivers as well.
Well, I wouldn't really, you know, they are a very good pair of drivers, especially Charlie Flagg as well. I'm going to give them a good pair. They are a good pair of drivers, but the Maserati could not be that much quicker than everything else at Spa.
Okay.
It was nearly 2-3 seconds quicker.
We'll wait and see what happens on that. And if anyone does have a couple of quid lying around and wants to get me into a racing car, or Abby Eaton, either one, that's absolutely fine, if she's not available. But there you go. And one final thing I wanted to mention, which has been really, 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 really annoying. Something that which is the, and I am choosing my words very, very carefully here.
Here we go.
But I think you know, and I think a lot of people have the same.
Right.
Thoughts.
I'm going to give you 3 minutes. Get on with it.
About Frontrunner and Frontrunner 2. Now, on one hand, it's fantastic that the British GT Championship is finally getting the live TV deal it's desperately not wanted, or the fans have wanted for years. It has done in the past, sort of, but this was the full proper launch of the, you know, everything live, either online or on Frontrunner. And it was great at the start of the season. I understand. I didn't watch it because I was actually at the events with yourself, Dan. But by all accounts, it was fantastic. Frontrunner since have fallen off Freeview, and it's been speculated that they've perhaps come into a bit of difficulties of some description. Not going to speculate. Yeah, and it's becoming increasingly difficult to find any mention of the British GT Championship on Frontrunner by Frontrunner, i.e. they're not promoting it. And I have no clue whether it was on Frontrunner at the weekend. And I even looked at it on the Sky Planner before I actually left to go to Brands Hatch, and this was on the Thursday. I sat down, found Frontrunner and Frontrunner 2 on the Sky EPG on the planner. I thought, right, okay, this particular round, I want to record everything. Maybe I want to see myself in the background. That's why we record things, isn't it? And the racing, of course. But yeah, I actually purposefully went through the entire... I looked for it. And I spent a good half hour looking for, and there was no mention of any British GT live on the Sky Planner. And you'd think for a championship like the British GT Championship, which is one of the world's best, greatest, most notorious, most desirable GT championships, and with the amount of coverage that it deserves, and also with an exclusive TV contract that it has, more than Motorsport TV, for example. I mean, that would have been everyone's obvious choice for a TV contract.
Can I sorry to interrupt, but I'm not going to go into the semantics of broadcasting any particular championships, but it's not it's an exclusive live television deal.
Yeah, that's what I said.
When it comes to being live, because it is on Motorsport TV, it is on Channel 4,
as well,
it is on GT World on YouTube, where it is always live.
Yes.
You know, it's a shame that Frontrunner are running into the troubles and not actively promoting the championship, because it should have a much higher viewing count. And as you say, they have had some troubles. I'm not sure whether they've been financial or whether they've had disagreements. The SRO at the start of the season said that this was an investment year, a learning year for the television product. And I hope they do invest in the coverage, because it's been fantastic coverage this year. Just the platform that they've been using it on has not been great, let's be honest,
and
in terms of promoting it.
Yeah, I do want to clarify as well, the quality of the coverage of the Hey Fisher crew has been just perfect as always, so absolutely no problem at all with the
It's been very good coverage, yes, but it's the platform that they've used. Of course, it's been an experimental one. They started swallowing up highlights left, right and centre at the start of the season. They dropped, I believe, anyway, they've dropped off Freeview recently, so they've been left to Sky. And they had highlights of LMP3 Cup and on repeat, and then BRT, one of the Rally Championships, I can't remember which one, which has meant that, you know, the British GT wasn't there. They did eventually get that remedied, but you know, there's very little social media presence on Frontrunner. There's hardly a website. It's just this is who we are, we've got some rights, here you go. No options to tune in online, no option to look at the scheduling, nothing, which I think is a real shame, because it could be a great channel. It's this is why the motorsport networks are investing so much into their respective brands and television, because
but enough about
they know. No, because they know that investing is an important thing, and SRO know that investing is an important thing. But hopefully we do get live coverage, because we had a year with live coverage a couple of years ago, and then they went back to the more traditional way of doing it, purely because I don't think they were seeing value for money, and I'm hoping they can see that now they're doing the footage online, much like they do for Blancpain, that we will get it online, because it is. I believe it's much better for the fans, and from some of the numbers that I've been told, they've been getting some fantastic reach with the video. So,
yeah. So the live coverage, I think, something I've known for a long time is that online coverage, live online coverage, is probably a lot more value for money. It adds a lot more value for money, because you actually get a lot more stats. It's you're in total control if you're a championship or broadcaster like Hey Fisher. You're in complete control of what content you put out, when. There's no time limits, for example, and just like this show, in theory, we could go all night talking about all sorts of nonsense.
Which we normally do.
And it is live. We stream it live. Nobody gets in our way because it's online. There's no broadcast laws. There's only
there are some.
the laws of the land, but there are no sort of Ofcom things. There are no time schedules, races that are delayed, no problem, whatever. There's no TV thing. So I think personally, the future is not on traditional broadcast TV.
The future is less focused on traditional TV in the way that the certain deals are being made, like the Formula One deals. I think are reprehensible. That there is going to be no live Formula One from a couple of years' time. That's what I think is bad for everyone.
On terrestrial.
I wouldn't invest, and the only reason I have the Sky F1 channel now is because I'm a legacy subscriber. You know, when I go to live on my own eventually, I'm not going to pay for Formula One, and I used to love watching Formula One. You know, I would used to actively want to go and pay for Formula One, but I don't anymore purely because of the expense. It's like stuff like the WEC app for Le Mans. When we mentioned it, you know, earlier on,
you've still got
to
gripe about that, haven't you?
Says the man who's just had a tirade about front runner.
Okay.
But the point is, if you do something right, people will pay for it, but not too much. And it is a different way. It is a different way and a new way of consuming media. This is what's happening. The way that people are starting to consume media differently because of the ways we do. That's just life. But it's a shame that we're not getting the results, and it's a shame that they're not getting the results that they should be getting, because that's what's going to put people off and not going to grow the championship. And I think especially with next year, when it's all going to be expanded with different races for different classes, that's going to be the big stress test, I think, of a live broadcast of, well, we've covered one 1 hour race, we've got to do another one for another type of racing car, and then other stuff. You know, and it's the willingness of certain groups to show it or not show it for, or pay more money or less money to show it in various quality ways. But that's going to be the big one.
Yeah, certainly. Anyway, going back to the British GT Championship and yesterday's race from the 2 hour endurance event at Brands Hatch. Dan, you caught up with as many podium people as you could sort of grab, basically, as you'll hear in a moment. It was pretty crowded backstage from the podium. And let's start off with, I think you started off talking to Will Tregurtha and Stuart Middleton, first of all.
Did we start off with them, or did we start off by having a chat with Vic Parfitt downstairs?
It was Stuart Middleton, I think.
Okay, Stuart Middleton then.
Yeah, Parfitt didn't make the cut. Sorry, Rick. But anyway, here is Dan's podium pounce on all the GT drivers from yesterday.
Very, very late move for you guys to take third place in GT4. Quite an interesting move. You left it late.
Yeah, we just managed to pit third in the end there. Yeah, we're extremely happy with that result. I think Will was out in the car and he was racing against Kieran Haggy at the time, and yeah, I think Kieran just tried to lunge Will at the last second and outbraked himself, and then unfortunately Haggy went in the wall. So yeah, that meant we managed to just secure third, and yeah, it's just been an awesome result for all the team.
And with the Landon car finishing quite far down, lost a lot of laps, I don't think it scored any points. That's really put you guys in a good championship position.
Yeah, it's definitely made our job a bit more easy. A bit for going into the last round, so yeah, I guess the luck is when I was way a little bit, but yeah, considering we've had 2 DNFs this season, yeah, it's just, I guess, look at where we could have been if we hadn't have had them 2 DNFs. So yeah, I mean, nonetheless, we're very happy. So yeah, awesome.
Well done, Stuart. Of course, well, great stint there.
Thanks. It was pretty difficult and tough, to be honest. It's so much fun, and probably one of the best races I've been in, to be honest. I was lucky with Haggerty on kind of the second to last lap to get past him, and then on the last lap he had an incident where he tried to go past me and outbrakes himself. Unfortunately, he ended up in the wall, but yeah, honestly, it's a real relief to get a podium after qualifying. We were a bit down, P6 or P7 were we? But honestly, the car was great all weekend. So I can't thank Stuart and HHC enough.
And of course, very good lead in the championship going into the finale.
Yeah, I think we definitely made it a bit easier on ourselves. It was always going to be hard. Unfortunately, the Land guys had a DNF, so a bit bad luck for them. But yeah, it's just been a great weekend, to be honest. Really happy.
Fantastic racing out there. Well done, you two.
Thanks.
Interesting race out there today. 2 hours, quite difficult though. You did a good job out there.
Yeah, very well. Lee did a fantastic job in his first stint. We got ahead of the Demotrix car just where we needed to, because unfortunately, with there only being one fuel stop, whoever's second coming to the box doesn't get the preferential treatment, has to go around another lap. So we got ahead in the lap, which allowed us to box early. And then we came out in second place, and that was the difference, really. I think a couple of cars had a bit of a problem. We made the jump into second, and then from there on, it was a horrible hour managing traffic and looking in my rearview mirror.
And of course, you mentioned your teammate, the 33. It's your last year, of course, you're fighting for the touring car title. I must imagine for John, it's really difficult pressure, especially coming into a couple of last meetings going. He's lost his points lead. It must be massive pressure.
Absolutely. It's not easy. This championship is very, very good. The standard is very, very high. And some fantastic amateur drivers, of which John is one. Put a cracking lap in qualifying yesterday. That just underlines the calibre of the man. And today, for whatever reason, the car just wasn't working well. So, they'll come back. It's probably a bit easier without the pressure now going into the last round, and I fully expect them to be on the front row at Donington.
And of course, Donington Park suits Lamborghini quite well. You've been on the podium a couple of times. You're going to be going for someone number one.
Absolutely. We've had too many second places this year and not a win, so that's the aim.
Well, thank you, Sam. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done for winning a Blancpain Trophy this weekend.
Yeah, it was all right, wasn't it? Yeah, it wasn't easy though.
How was it? How difficult was it?
It was very difficult. It was, I think I was sitting reasonably comfortably in third. We've been quick all weekend, and we had a good quali. And then in the race, we were pretty quick, sitting nice and comfortably in third. Got caught up in some GT4 traffic, a little bit of contact, and then Rick got through, and then Liam hit me quite hard, and he got through. And then I thought I had some damage, so I kind of dropped off a bit, but then the car felt okay, got my head down, and had two Lamborghinis to pass, which is not easy given who they are, and John Minshaw and all that. But managed it and brought it home safely. And then John had a really boring race, really.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a process. Traffic made it interesting, especially as everyone came out of the pits. I think at GT4s took a while to get accustomed to us passing, but by the end it was quite smooth sailing getting through the traffic, but certainly made it exciting in the middle of the stint. It's a shame, that these cars have got so much aero, and it's quite a high speed circuit here, and you just can't get close to the guy in front. I think Johnny had the same issue behind me, and Phil probably had the same issue behind Johnny, so yeah, a decent run to third, but miffed that we didn't get second.
Well, it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be a very interesting one. Well, come on. You've broken your trophy. You've broken... Seb, how have you managed to break your trophy?
Oh, I don't even know. It was a great race. Rick did all the hard work. He did some amazing moves. Considering he's been really ill this week, it's an amazing achievement, and I just controlled the gap.
It was an interesting one out there. You did a very good gap, about 30 odd seconds to really prove it, and of course with a nearly a 10-point lead in the championship now, it's really tipped the balance this weekend.
Yeah, it has. We didn't expect it whatsoever. We were so upset after qualifying, and then to have it turned around like that's incredible.
Well, I think you're the only this weekend. That's too early on the green. You said tip the balance this weekend. You did.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, after qualifying, I thought, we've lost it now, and then Rick started doing them one by one. Then did Minshaw, and I thought, oh my goodness, the tables are turning. And Minshaw started, fair enough, overtaking Minshaw, great achievement, but then it wasn't enough. So then when he started dropping back and back, we thought, oh my God, this is really coming into our hands now.
And of course, it's been pretty good, isn't it, Ben? And so it's going to be an interesting one going into Donington for the finale.
Yeah, we've given him a great finale.
Again.
I'll get my check later, Ben, yeah?
Well, best of luck, Seb. Well done for winning, and we'll have a better chat in Donington when you're left winning champagne.
Yeah, thank you.
Akhil Rabindra from British GT Brands House in 2017. Just after the race is finished, a long one. Todd, did you go out there first or second?
I went out there second today, and it was a good race considering we started last. We ended up finishing 12th. But I think few more positions ahead would have been perfect for us considering where we started, but nevertheless we are satisfied.
But 28th to 29th all the way to 12th isn't a bad feat.
Yeah, It is. When you look at it that way, it was good. But obviously, we're fighting for the championship, and we wanted to get ahead of our competitors, and we couldn't do that. But fight back for Donington.
Well, it's good to see that you've enjoyed the race. A tough one out there, 2 hours. Another one at Donington Park. It should suit the McLaren.
Yeah, I think the Donington, the car did in 2016. The car did really well in Donington. They won, so I think we're in a good position for Donington, and it was well for us.
Well, best of luck for them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. McLeod then in the number 17 Parker race. A difficult race for you guys. Couple of penalties. It all just went a bit.
Yeah, I mean, we've had an extremely tough weekend in terms of getting the pace out of the car. We've had a small issue since FP1, which luckily unluckily was still there this morning. We still hadn't found it in warm-up, but the lads did a great job to find it for the race and turn it around. So I think we had second fastest lap, which shows we had the pace. Things just didn't go our way. It was always going to be difficult because Ian's never really been around here, and we lost all our testing time yesterday. So it was a learning exercise, really, maybe for next year and hopefully the future.
And of course, I'm assuming you guys are looking at doing British GT again next year.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Of course, it'll be interesting. GT3 only, or GT3 and GTC?
Yeah, no, absolutely. The future's looking quite exciting. It'd be amazing if we could attract enough cars to have a separate GT3 grid to complement the GT4 grid. We'll just have to wait and see.
And with separate grids, somewhere around here, a few people were saying the GT4 traffic didn't help. Did you experience that?
To be honest, when I was out, we were out at the race. It was a case of drive around, make sure the car was sorted so that we can go to Donington with full confidence and push for another win there.
And Donington's going to be quite interesting. Taking the lead in the championship, are you going to be acting as rear gunner, or are you just going to be going flat out anyway?
Who knows? We'll have to have a chat and see what the score is.
Mind you, it could be tasty between you and the other Lamborghini.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, we're going to go to Donington and try and win. We obviously, if we can help Rick and Seb along the way, great. But ultimately, we just want to win races and see how we get on.
Are you looking at doing the last round of Blancpain as well, by the way?
No.
Okay, well, that answered that one.
Thank you.
Well, cheers. Thank you very much, Callum.
Cheers, guys.
Didn't sound overly confident about wanting to be rear gunner for his teammates, did Callum? But yeah, well done, Dan, on hustling all the podium people yesterday after the British GT Championship. It really was packed behind that podium. It really, really was, if you were listening to that. Also, want to give a big shout out to people who are tuned in to us right now, live on Monday Motorsport, on Motorsport Radio. Bonner Hingley, Ben's dad, and John Barnes has joined the party. Hi, folks, amongst others. Also, Shaka Anderson, who's joined in with our previous debate regarding online coverage versus traditional TV coverage, saying, I think GT World would do a great job showing live content of British GT.
Does a great job.
Yeah, does a great job. Shaka saying also that more and more GT racing is going on YouTube. International GT Open, for example, VLM, Blancpain, ADAC GT Masters on Facebook. They're all doing it, and I said it is the way forward. Also, he says not to mention Super GT and such. We agree with you, Shaka. And hello to a profile called Roland Hill as well, who I believe you know as well, Dan.
Yeah.
Friend of yours, maybe. I don't know. And to everyone else who's been a part of the show and joined in on Facebook live stream. And we are also on YouTube as well. And I believe we're on Twitch as well. And we're on multiple different platforms every Monday, usually every Monday, live on motorsport.radio. My name is Lester. Dan Marr is here. Hello, Peter Daly. And has just chipped in with a comment about a GT race being a cracking race with some great driving standards. I suppose he was talking about the British GT race. I presume he was. And yes. I suppose we'll agree with that, Dan. And yes, so thank you for that. Your contribution.
Thank you.
So yes, do get in touch with us and let us know about what you think. If you have different opinions, that's okay too, because we do like different opinions. It's not all about what just myself and Dan say. If you want to even have a debate with us, join in the show. Let us know. Even after we've gone off air, is some people's preferred method of what you do. So Dan is going to head off to bed while we shuffle into the next BRDC British F3 races. Dan, just quickly tell us then how we can keep in touch with you and your social medias if that's of interest to people who want to follow you.
So thank you for having me on the show as ever, Lester. So great weekend for the British GTs. We'll be back soon at Donington Park for the season finale. You can find me over on motorsport.radio, where you can come and talk to me. We can talk British GT and all sorts of other racing. Go over to there, join our ever-expanding community of listeners over there. We really would love to hear your insights to our shows over there. You can join me on @Danmar14. That's also on motorsport.radio. That's on Twitter as well, @Danmar14. I don't really, as most people will know by now, I don't really use social media. So, I don't. I'm not a social media person, I'm afraid. It's I do keep up and follow what goes on, but I'm not a tweeter or anything like that. I've never really been interested in that, to be honest.
I'm a big Twitterer.
We know.
But yeah, thank you very much for appearing on tonight's show as well, Dan. And to everyone else, Kiko Alexander-Giles as well, he was on earlier talking about BSB and some such. And that'll be interesting to have him back.
You pressed the EU button, didn't you?
The what?
The EU button.
He did that.
We'll gloss over that one.
Certainly. Just before you go, Dan, I'll tell you if you don't know already about what happened in the yesterday's BRDC British F3 second race. Now, this is where it gets really, really interesting and a bit fun as well, because race 2 saw on pole position, this was the reverse grid race, so the top 8 from race 1 gets reversed, which meant that the top 8 for the second race, anyway, it was a pole position, a first ever BRDC pole position, I think, for the returning Indian driver who we heard from earlier in the show, Krishnaraj Mahadik. He was on pole position for race number 2. Alongside him was Nikolai Kiergaard, who we'll hear from in a moment on Callan O'Keefe's pit stalk.
I do pit walks and grid walks. He does pit stalks.
Exactly. You'll see why, or you'll hear
on
why
camera, of course.
Jeremy Wahome was starting the race in 3rd, and Jordan Kane ahead of Callan O'Keefe in race number 2, and it ended up with Toby Sowery coming through from 6th place in on the grid in race number 2 to take the checkered flag in race number 2. And Krishnaraj Mahadik, Krish, we'll call him, Mahadik, was brilliantly defending to finish 2nd on the road in the race. And James Pull in 3rd place. Anam Ahmed, not even on the podium for race number 2. Hold everything. We will get on to what happened in race number 3, including some massive controversial points, after we've heard about what happened in between race 2 and race number 3. Because Callan O'Keefe, why did I do this? I gave Callan a microphone
and the camera,
and I followed him around.
You went off with him.
Yeah, I turned cameraman and just supervised Callan O'Keefe. I mean, we'd seen Harry Hayek do it in Australian F4, and that seemed to work okay. Plenty of bants and lots of interesting conversations. To be fair, he got lots more information out of drivers than probably I ever would, including, you'll hear for yourself in a minute. He gate crashes the Hingeley's dinner, literally, storms into lots of people's motorhomes, and because put it this way, if there wasn't a camera pointing at him, he would have been told to F off. I'm pretty sure of that. But still, anyway, this is broken up into 2 parts. Here is the first part of Callan's pit stalk. Yeah, interesting.
Well, we're here in between race 2 and race 3 of Brands, round 6 of the BRDC British Formula 3 Championship. We've still got about 2.5 hours until we grid up for the race. and really not a lot to do. So we're going to try find some drivers, get the rundown of what happened, and hopefully they'll be a bit more honest to another driver than there will be to the journalists. So let's see what we can find. Well, we can start up here with my teammate, Mr. Kane. Jason, good weekend so far. You've been on the pace. What's been happening though?
Well, not a great weekend up until this point.
Pace-wise, bearing in mind you're not a GP circuit before, you've been on the pace. Unfortunately though, a bit of bad luck in race 2. Talk us through your side of the story.
Yeah, so basically someone tried to be a hero in turn 2 and hit another driver, and then I just had nowhere to go. Just one of those things, and then me and you had a bit of off-track excursion. And
I believe it's known as rallycross. Richard, Wayne's dad, absolutely brilliant ex-rallycross racing driver. We're just trying to emulate him. That's all that's trying to happen. However, though, race 3, where you starting? What's the plan? What are we going to do? How are we going to send it?
Well, the plan is to send it. We are starting P13 because the track was quicker today. So, yeah, we're just going to send it and see what we can do, and hopefully gain a lot of positions.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. Well, let's go see who else we can find. Maybe find a couple of team bosses.
Is Callan hired now? Is that a thing? Is Callan now?
This is the interview, I believe it's known as. See what I did there? So please don't put that in. We'll leave that out. On that note, we'll end the interview. Jordan, are you coming with? We're going to go see what we can find. Let's go and have a look around. So yeah. We've also got Ben here. Ben, day at the races. Is it your first time here? Tell us a bit about the experience for the fans back home.
So yeah, first time at Brands. Great experience coming in. Yeah, just enjoying my day, going around, just seeing new things. Yeah, it's just.
Would you like to have a go?
Oh yeah, that'd be a dream. That'd be a dream. Yeah.
Are you going to beat me into the car in race 3? You're going to have a go? Yeah. Take paddock flat?
Yeah. Well, people were saying that we look quite alike, so maybe I can slip on your helmet, and hop in the car.
To be honest, we've had a comment. Apparently we look alike. We'll let the people at home judge this. However, I have been told that he has it and I don't. Whatever it is, so we'll give you a go in race 3. We'll see what happens. You said you were a rallycross driver. Jordan and I did a bit of rallycross this morning. You've seen our onboard, or have you not? Could you take a look at it for us and give us some tips for the next time we do it, please?
Yeah, we'll do.
Happy days. We're finding people. We're going for a walk around. Let's see what happens. We've got people. Good afternoon, sir. Into Double R here. Let's bring in Douglas as number 1. Douglas. Okay, he's not up for a chat. Here at Double R, not really sure how their day's been going. I think it's been a bit of a struggle for them. A couple of off-track excursions. Just trying to see if we can find any drivers. I'll have a word with Sam. Sam, mate, we just want to get your side of the story. Okay, fair one. No one's. We'll interview you. How you doing, mate? Great.
We're going to interview me.
Yeah, we're going to interview you. Great weekend so far. Tell us a bit about it. What's the secret? Where are you going wrong?
You don't have me. That's where you're going wrong.
What does it take to get you? What do I have to do? Tell me, please.
You can't.
Rejection on camera. Yeah. What's the plan for race 3 then? Can you tell me what you're going to do so I can try and counteract it?
Where are you starting from? 4th?
P4.
Oh, you're right behind us.
I know. Well, I reckon we need to do a little bit of slingshot, a bit of Ricky Bobby. If you could just tell an arm that, and we can send it from there. What do you reckon?
We're going for the outside, that's for sure. Just come behind us, you'll be third.
Or maybe you go for the inside, I'll go for the outside. 50-50, and whoever comes out best, there you go, that's teamwork, it makes the dream work. What do you think?
Well, it's all up to him, man.
We'll see. Hopefully we'll be joining you on the podium. I will see you there later, hopefully.
Hope for that.
Cheers, mate, cheers. I expected a little bit more drivers to be knocking about, I'm not going to lie. See what we've got here. Are there any Carlin drivers in? Do we know of any drivers knocking about here? I just want one driver. That's all I want. We'll interview you. How's your weekend going so far?
Yeah, it's been all right. Yeah, it's been good.
If you had to sum it up in one word, how would you put it?
It's long.
Isn't that just every weekend in motorsport?
Yeah, pretty much.
Where are you starting for this next one?
P2, I think. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So is that one? What? P4.
P4.
Ooh. I was just having a little discussion. I think we're going to do a bit of slingshot movement. How do you feel about a bit of rubbing into turn 1?
As long as it's not too bad.
Rubbin's racing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's no fun without it.
This guy's on board with it. We're going to make it happen. Can't wait. Let's see if we can find some drivers. let's before they lower the tail lift, let's see what we got going on in here. As you can see, serious discussions going on, all part of the process of racing. I expected this to go a little bit better, I'm not going to lie. However, I will still talk and try to just fill the time, really. I feel like we need to just butt in here. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, how are we doing?
Absolutely awesome, and how are we today?
I'm just trying to fill the time. We've got a lot of time until the next race. How's the weekend going for you so far?
Well, for me, it went very well. I'm pretty much happy about what my son did. I think you guys were quite close together.
Yeah, there was a bit. There was a bit of racing action going into Dingledell, I think. What's the kind of progression plan? Obviously, this is Nick's first year in the championship. Is Nick staying on? Can you give us a bit of inside information for next year?
He's going to continue next year. We're all looking forward to see you again on the grid.
I mean, I don't know if I'll be here.
Sure you're going to be.
I'll be in the paddock as a supporter, mate, and I can't wait for it.
I must say, really, you're doing a great job here. Is skip driving,
mate? You know what?
Making interviews, I would say.
I don't know if that's an insult or a compliment. However, we will take it and we'll move forward. Race 3, what's your prediction? Who's going to win it?
Well, that's pretty tough to say because those guys in front are behaving miserable. I mean, you saw from the last race, second corner they thought already they saw somebody with a checkered flag. Huh? Exactly. Yeah, so I have no idea. The wildest will win, I guess.
Do you think it'll be a blue car from Douglas Motorsport?
Possible. I mean, possible.
I like the fact you say it's possible.
Especially when you're in it. I mean, a lovely start from you and then your front line, right?
I like this guy a lot. On that note, we're going to end it before.
But I think you were behind Nick, right?
I'm starting 4th in this one.
4th in this one?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Fastest lap, isn't it?
Oh, great, man.
So we're back in the race despite some rallycross action, as you would have seen in the first segment of this. We're back in it. Great to talk to you. Hopefully he has a great race. And who knows what can happen.
Good luck with your new job. Huh?
Thank you very much. I think I'm settling in well. We'll see you later. Baz, talk to me. Bit of insight for you. Obviously we're looking for drivers. We're finding others as well. This is Baz, Ben Hingley's mechanic.
Yeah.
How's the weekend going, mate? Sum it up for us.
Not gone the best so far, mate, but it's getting there. A couple of big crashes and issues with the car, but it's going all right.
Mate, if you send it sometimes, you're going to end it. That's just the way it works. Good luck for the next one, mate. Have a good one. Do we have any drivers, please? Can we have some form of racing driver? I've walked down the entire paddock and we're struggling to find any. Come on, mate. We'll get a rundown from you as well. I feel like to a driver, teams are more honest. How's the weekend going for you?
It's been a struggle, but
everyone keeps saying the same thing. The long struggle. Where's the positivity? We're at Brands, the sun's out. Like, come on.
It's good, and the last race was good. We had a 5th and a 6th, so it's a definite improvement. And looking forward to the next race.
I think we spotted a racing driver. Omar, get in here, mate.
There you go.
Get in here. We finally found one. First one. We've walked down the entire paddock. We got one. My name's Callum. Nice to meet you. I'm an intern for Motorsport Radio. Omar, how's the race weekend going for you?
Not bad.
Yeah, just take the sunglasses. Yeah.
Bad, yeah.
Mate, they're engineers. They look good on you. How's it going for you so far?
Not bad. I had a first race, but I'm not gonna.
Sorry about the language. For any younger listeners there, we'll try that again. Omar, how's the race weekend going for you?
It's great. The great race now. We had a bit of a bad first race, a bit messy with the car, but the second race a lot of chaos happened at the start. I was able to avoid trouble, and I was able to get up into the top 5. Hopefully I can push on from now. I've had a couple of bad race weekends before, but I think I'm sorting myself out now.
That's good, mate. Peaking at the end of the year, it's always important. You always want to peak at the end. Heard a rumour as well during free practice, one of the blue cars, Douglas Motorsport, almost took you out. Got a bit irate, couple of gesticulations coming out of the cockpit. Anything to say on that? What's your side of the story?
Yeah, heard that too. It's one of these crazy blue cars.
He's wrong.
Yeah, he just came round me straight into the pits after. I was like, what's he doing? Do you want another cheeky overtake before the pit lane? Fair play to him.
Irrelevant.
Pulled it off well, yeah.
Got the place though, mate. That's all that counts, unfortunately, in racing. We'll go to him later to get his... Throwing shade already. I'll take those back, mate. You don't need them anymore, the amount of shade you're throwing. What are we saying? Do you want to come help us find some more drivers?
Let's do it.
We can do a little bit... I don't know where we're going, but
the way weekends go, I think we should probably get into
We might stick our heads here into the hospitality. if we're sticking our noses where we're not welcome, we just thought we'd come in and say hello. How's the lunch, folks? How's it going?
Going awesome.
We're looking forward to race 3. What's the story? I feel like we've not had a great weekend so far for you, unfortunately. But a chance to turn it around now and end the weekend on a high.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. Where's Ben starting for this one?
6th, I believe. 7th, is he? 7th.
Oh, he's right there. He's in the fight.
Yeah, try 15th.
Yeah, try. It could be worse. It could be Omar. Could be P15. So, we'll try to cause a bit of chaos up front, and hopefully we'll see him somewhere near there at the end of the race. Enjoy your lunch. We're running out of stuff to do here. I'm not going to lie. Who else can we find? Should we go and find? It's not easy to find people. I mean, where are they? But you know what? We'll go back in for you. Second season in British Formula 3. Just. I mean, I did like 2 races there. If you look at Wikipedia, mate, that's all that counts. Got a bit of experience in the championship now. Give us a bit of insight. Where's your favourite place? Favourite track?
It's got to be Rockingham because I did the best there.
I don't know how I feel about Rockingham. Should we go inside the BRDC Technical Centre? This is it. This is where all the magic happens. Is Gemma around the side? We'll stick our heads in. We'll see if she's there. I feel like we'll just slowly come around here. Is she in? Where have we seen Gemma anywhere? Do we know where she is? Trying to interview her. Have you seen Gemma anywhere?
She's gone off in the X3.
That's a shame. We'll come back and find her a bit later. I see a little guy over there. That is my little brother. Should we get him on interview? Should we do it? Let's do it. Oh, are they going back? We can chip in. I'll give you your 2 cents. I feel like he's not going to talk to you anyway, so we'll get a little interview going with our team manager / we have Ben, team manager of Douglas Motorsport, co-team manager with Douglas, and this is Kiernan O'Keefe, my little brother. Kiernan, day of the races, how are you finding it?
Pretty good, except race 1 for you wasn't that great.
Well, race 1 went pretty well. It means race 1 today.
Race 2.
Yeah, it means race 2. Good save. You're going to make a great interviewee. So far, what's been your favourite part of the day?
I don't know, I just went on the sims and I'm pretty excited for race 3.
Would you recommend for the people out there to come and watch a bit of British GT and British F3 action? Defo. Omar, any questions you'd like to ask my younger brother? Bearing in mind he's 10 years old, please keep them appropriate.
Are you thinking of getting into racing?
No, I'm going to do something in sport.
You sure? You're better than this guy.
Well, there's shade being thrown at me by Omar and my little brother. I don't know what we're going to do. How much time have we got left? I feel like this is... How much time? We got 5 minutes. Okay, we'll take a wander around, see what we can find.
I'd love to stick around. I've got Game of Thrones to watch.
Mate, if you've got Game of Thrones to watch, I'm not going to stand in your way on that one. It's been a pleasure, mate. I'll see you down there. Hacking. Right. I feel like we could take a wander down. We're gonna get one more question in. One more question. You're gonna interview me.
Okay, BMW or Lambo?
BMW or Lambo? Do you know? I'd have to say Lambo, to be honest with you. Many reasons, far too many to list. So we're gonna go find some people, try and edit this together, try and find some people to actually. The Sesto Elemento. It's made entirely out of carbon, and I'm a child, so I like carbon.
What type?
The Sesto Elemento, made entirely out of carbon. Decent car, that. If someone's got a spare couple of million knocking about, I'd be happy to take it off their hands.
I just want to recommend one thing. Go off to if you ever come to Brands, go off to the mini karting circuit.
Well, there you go. Advice from an expert. We will heed that advice and make sure it gets to the people. Should we just stick in here? How you doing, mate? Are you enjoying your day at the races?
Oh, it's been amazing, yeah.
Is it your first time here, or you been here before?
A couple times, yeah.
Okay, cool. That's an accent I detect. Where are you from?
I'm from America.
Of course you are. Which part of America?
Michigan, but I live in London, so yeah.
Okay, cool. How about you? Enjoying it here?
Very much so.
Yeah. What's been your favourite part of the day? Bearing in mind I'm a British Formula 3 racing driver.
Wishing that I was taking part myself.
Would you like to do race 3 in the number 27 Douglas car?
Sure, I'll take it on for you.
If you just walk down the paddock, get in there, tell them Callan's told you to do a seat fit, jump in, and I'll be commentating from the side. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Gemma, can we get an interview with you, please? Gemma, Gemma, come back. Gemma, you've been spotted. Oh, that's worth catching on camera. Gemma, come back. I will chase after you. This is investigative reporting at its best. Gemma. Now that we're here, will someone do an interview with us? Okay, well, this is, okay, well, everyone's just dispersed. Well, we're just throwing a microphone here, and the one man that's actually here. How are we doing today?
Very well, thank you.
Are we enjoying the sunny day at Brands Hatch?
It's very pleasant, yes.
What do you think of the number 27 driver for Douglas Motorsport? I heard he's a bit of a liability.
I'd back that one up, yeah.
Well, there you go. From a reputable source, whatever the word is. I'm not very good with those. And we can't find Gemma now, which is disappointing. I had a good old dig-dong with Chase. He put me on the grass, so we'll get his side of the story now. Chase, can we grab a word with you for 2 secs? Chase, are you busy? How you doing, mate?
Not too busy for you. Okay.
Thanks, mate, thanks.
Yeah.
Running low on time. Just keep an eye out if he starts busting signals. It's a bit like Ted's notebook.
Yep.
Chase, talk me through the weekend so far. We were swapping fastest laps on Thursday, Friday. We were battling it out, and then we were almost swapping paint when you put me on the grass in race 2. What's your side of the story?
Oh, well, there's... I was just doing some blocking. Just doing some blocking, you gotta fight hard in these races to pass somebody.
I mean, mate, when we were having a beer last night, you said to me that you would let me pass if I came through, and you didn't hold your word. Are you not a man of your word?
Was
it all part of the mind game?
It was mind games. Yeah.
You are one step ahead of me, mate. I believed you for a second there. You know what, mate? Robin's racing. Good battle. I enjoyed it a little bit. Would have been nice to end one place ahead of you. However, we were fighting for like 9th and 10th, so it doesn't really make a difference. Race 3, talk to me about it. What's the plan moving forward?
Just get past you. That's really it.
You know what, mate? That is a good start. However, let me stop you there. There's probably a few other drivers on that grid you need to work past. Yeah. So I'm going to ask you again, give you a chance. We can edit that out, reevaluate this. What's your plan for race 3?
Just get a good start and pass as many people as I can on the first lap.
Are you going to walk around the paddock telling them they're going to let them pass as well and then put them on the grass too?
There's a good possibility. I've already laid the groundwork for that, so yeah.
It is a good tactic, mate. It works. Helped me to do a little bit of tyre saving, which I'm on board with, because obviously when you're on the grass, you're not using them. So thanks very much for that. I will be very thankful later on the race. We're being ushered. This is great. We're going behind enemy lines here. Would someone just like to let me know what sort of springs you're running, something along those lines? No? Fair enough. Let's go inside. Good afternoon. Are we interrupting something? Have you got 2 minutes to talk to us, Nick?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, well, obviously, I'm Callan. Nice to meet you, mate.
Hi.
I don't think I've ever met you before in my life, except for on track. We had a nice little battle there in race 2. Talk to me about your weekend so far.
Difficult start. It's a challenging track, of course, for me as a newcomer. Never been here on the Indy circuit, never been on the GP circuit, so especially difficult for me then. But I guess race 2 has not been too bad, and waiting to get more experience for race 3 now.
What's your plan moving forward? You're just going to send it in turn 1, flat round paddock?
Gonna send it.
This guy knows the score. Happy days, mate. I wish you all the best for the race, and hopefully we'll have a couple more close encounters as the year goes on. Well, this is kind of nice. I'm just taking it in, breathing in the atmosphere in the hill speed truck. But yeah, unfortunately it's time to go. We're going to try find some more drivers. Let's see what's going on. Oh, we found Gemma. We found her. We're going to just slide in here. Gemma, quick word for Sky Sports. Been a great start to the year for the championship, lots of close racing action. How would you sum up the season so far?
Fantastic. No more comment.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the more brief interviews I've ever done in my life, in my 2-minute reporting career. So, yeah, we'll take one more wander down back, if I can get the words out, back past this paddock, see if we can find some people. If we can't, I think we found some drivers. Are we going to be welcomed in? That's the question. Cameron, could we get a quick word for Sky Sports, please? We got the D-man coming here. obvious, his nickname for obvious reasons, Cam. My name's Callum, nice to meet you. I'm an intern for Motorsport Radio. Some of the weekend so far, please.
A bit difficult to begin with, but we've qualified P3 for the last race, so we're in good shape.
I know, mate, you're starting one place ahead of me. What's your tactic for turn 1, turn 2? Just, if I was a reporter, what would you be saying? Not that I'm going to actually take this up and listen to it and try to counter it.
Roll the dice. That's my plan.
Oh, wow. Very ominous. I enjoy the anonymity, whatever the right word is for that. I'm South African, that's not my first language. So far the year's gone pretty well for you. You obviously started off very well at Alton. Couple of challenging races, obviously. How do you plan to pick it back up again?
Obviously, do better in qualifying, do better in the last practices, and we'll be able to be at the front as long as we're at the front in the beginning of the weekend.
It's really just a case of reaching deeper into that bag of talent and pulling some more out, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
I feel you on that one, mate. I struggle with that one too. Have we got any other drivers knocking about? Do we know where Anam and...
might be in the engineering room.
Do you want to go have a... Is he in a debrief?
He is.
He's actually working, unlike me. That makes me feel really bad. However, that is probably why he is qualified P2 and I've qualified P4. But we will change that because I've already done my data. Cameron, it's been a pleasure. I will see you out on track.
See you then.
Hopefully not swapping paint.
Hopefully.
But we will make it a good hard race for the fans.
Right.
See you in a bit, mate. Right, drivers appearing up like left, right and centre. Let's have a little look, see what we've got. Huh? We got a couple in there.
Sorry, sir. Team members invite person.
I'm media. I have accreditation. Thank you very much. Well, here we are, boys. We finally found some racing drivers. Yeah. Manuel. My mate. How we doing? Well, Sam, you're next, mate. I don't know where you're going. Good old race. Race 2 there. We had a little bit of a battle. Talk me through it.
Yeah. So you're spinning the first hour.
Could we calm down on the language, please? We have younger viewers. Once again, sorry about us. We're a bit of a liability, us racing drivers. Once again, give you a chance so we can edit that out. Manuel, talk us through race 2. Obviously, let's bring back the fact I spun by myself. Let's get that out of the way earlier. Talk me through paddock turn 1. Bit tricky when you miss the apex and run wide, isn't it?
Yeah, it was alright. I was trying to hit it, but...
Mate, if you send it, sometimes you're going to end it. That's a fair one. Speaking of ending it, Nikolai. We'll move over here. Nikolai. Very unlucky in race 2. Obviously, strong showing in terms of pace this weekend. You must be looking forward to race 3 to give yourself a good shot at showing your true potential.
Yeah, it ended early in race 2. But yeah, we got good pace starting P6, so should be able to hopefully go a bit further up.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy your little action with my teammate either because it meant we had to take a bit of rallycross action there. And then obviously when we were kind of fighting a little bit, you then went into the pits. So I was a little bit disappointed because I was looking forward to some close racing action because that's what we're here for, even if it's over 11th place. Oh wow! You put a driver in, and all of a sudden, etiquette just goes out the door. I can't apologise enough for us. We're just a bit broken, Baz. Okay. Hopefully the microphone didn't pick that one up. Plans for the rest of the season? What are you going to do? How are you going to send it? How are you going to keep this good momentum going? Could I have some of your talent?
No.
Please.
I
Por favor.
I need it myself. I've just got just about enough.
Just reach further into that bag, mate. That's all you got to do. That bag of talent is full. You just got to reach deep down in there. Manuel, same question posed to you. Give me some strategy. Give me some...
Oh, I need to get a bit of talent from you, don't I?
Mate, I don't think there's much talent there. You'd be struggling. That bag, I've reached deep down into that bag and we're already struggling. So you might... A pretty shallow bag, apparently. Thank you very much to that guy. What's your name again? It doesn't matter, fellow South African. Thank you for throwing shade at me. Yeah, so we'll look forward to a good showing from you two in race 3. Hopefully, as I said to every single driver I've interviewed so far, you'll be somewhere near the front because I'm not going to end it off. I know I'm a bit of a dick, but we're going to end off the interview being dismayed. It's just long gone that point now. So we'll end off the interview there. Hopefully, you guys have a good race to finish off the weekend, and yeah, keep reaching into that bag before Snet, and who knows what can happen. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for your 2 minutes for Sky. Right, let's hack down this way. Would you like? Do you know what?
Do you know how to use a radio?
A radio?
Microphone.
Do you know what, mate? I was going to insult you, but you just done it yourself.
No, it says radio on there, so that's what I read.
I mean, well done, you can read. On that note, we'll we'll leave that one. How do we feel about interviewing Russ? I don't think that's going to go very well. He doesn't look very happy. We're not gonna. Russ. No, he's not interested in that. He's not interested in that. He's not interested in that. He's not interested in those games. Just me apparently. So yeah, we've gone for half an hour now. Right. Well, yeah. On that note, we'll probably sign off. It's been a pleasure. I'm going to go and kill the rest of the other 2 hours we've got left. Thank you for Motorsport Radio for letting me do this and kill some time. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Yeah, from myself, Manuel, and the rest of the British Formula 3 paddock, we out. Peace.
And that was that. Callan O'Keefe. What do you think? Is he hired? Should we keep him on? We'll get back to you. We'll keep your name on file, I think. No, it was actually good. Yeah, it was unique, I think. Yeah, would be the word for that. So thank you very much, Callan, and to everyone else, to Cameron, to Omar, to Nikolai, and to Manuel, and to the Hinchleys who Callan barged in on during dinner, and to everyone else who was accosted, to Nick Vorm as well, for Callan's pit stalk. Yeah, interesting one. And yeah, so that was all taking place before race number 3 yesterday at Brands Hatch for the BRDC British Formula 3 Championship. And as if by magic, we go back to Brands Hatch. And this is, again, me before the third race and a report on that third and final race.
Well, even more post-race 2 drama here at Brands Hatch in the BRDC British Formula 3 Championship. We're currently in the holding area before the final race of the weekend. And I can tell you that the man that we spoke to after the second race, Krish Mahadik, has since been upgraded to a win. Yeah. Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you very much. Very, very pleased with the result now. I'm very happy I could hold my position, and I'm glad I came into first. A very strong weekend for us.
Yeah, and well, I have to say that, I mean, although it was due to the winning driver, or Toby Sowry, getting excluded from race number 1, you don't care.
No, I obviously feel sad for him because they had a mechanical fault, but I don't know what it was exactly, but Toby is a great driver, and he's been in the championship for a long time, and he knows the car well and all of that. And he certainly did a really good move on me, and we had a really good time racing together. But I guess it was just unfortunate for him, and yeah, that's how it was.
Well, I mean, did you ever imagine when you thought about rejoining the championship that on your return, just like your original debut, Brands Hatch would be your strongest round, and well, you've gone as well as you can go, P1.
Yes, it's amazing to be P1. There's no other greater feeling in this world than being P1. Yeah, as I said before, I put in my 100%, and that's where it's taken me. So I'm glad I worked hard for this weekend, and there's still another race to go. So I have to clear my mind from what has happened before and just focus on what's going to happen next.
Okay, well, apologies for bringing back all the good memories for you. But you're starting in 9th place in this race. What's your sort of goal for the final race of the weekend?
9th is not a really bad position to start with, but yeah, the strategy is to aim for top 5. Obviously, get as farther ahead as you can, but yeah, I'll do my best and yeah, see how the race goes now.
Okay, best of luck, Chris. Thank you very much, and congrats.
Yes, thank you very much.
So there we have it. The race 2 second place person has since been upgraded, as we were saying, to a win at the unfortunate decision of the stewards, which meant that it was a technical infringement deemed post-race scrutineering technical infringement deemed by the stewards to not. They acknowledged that it was a mistake on the team's behalf, I think is what the official press release said from Formula 3, rather than an attempt to gain an advantage. I don't know specifically what it was or what the mistake allegedly was, but still, it's unfortunate for Toby because, as we know, we could have really benefited from that. And Double R team, and here is Guillaume starting in 10th place for this race. Are you feeling confident?
Yeah, I had a very difficult week, and we had a very difficult time in qualifying. We had the purple sector 1, which was the only sector I could practice before. And then sector 2 and 3 was really new to me. We had only 20 minutes of session to get to know the track. It's a really hard track. And then yesterday I had a car failure. Today I had a crash from behind, and now we're here trying to fight up a bit the grid.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what the reason for the retirement was, because on the TV cameras it didn't show why or who or what happened. So just talk us through exactly what was the problem and who was to blame.
I had a problem on the car. The bolts span out, and then I lost the wheel, and I had to stop.
And that was the result for retirement from race 2, is that right?
Race 2, I had a crash from behind from under the car in back in turn 8, and then I had to stop early again, and I couldn't put a good lap in. So yeah, we're starting in 10th now, and we're going to fight up the grid.
Well, it's good to hear from you, Guillaume, and yeah, best of luck to him for this third and final race. And Rupert Svensson-Cook, who's heavily involved in the Double R team, and they've got the Loss, I think it is known, as one of the team sponsors, and they also do quite a lot of driver coaching as well. But starting this third and final race this weekend on pole position, guess who? It's only Enem Ahmed. Yes, the still championship leader. He's not had the best time of it this weekend, to be honest. He did get upgraded to a podium from that Toby Sowery exclusion, but still, he always, to be fair, he always did say that Brands might have been a bit of a struggle for the team, and to be honest, I think it's less of a struggle than he was sort of making out to be, because starting on pole position, as I say, thanks to the quick times, combined quick times, Enem Ahmed there, and in second place, starting on this grid, Cameron Daz, just donning his helmet and getting ready to dive into the car, and Callan O'Keefe getting ready to also jump into his car. And coming up soon on exclusive to motorsport.radio, Callan has a chat with all of the paddock. Find out what that's about. It's a bit of an interesting one. It's a bit of a tribute to Harry Hayek as well. I'll say no more, but yeah, Callan grabbed the mic and did a good few interviews, and I wonder why he's getting so much attention on the grid right now. Maybe it's because he's got a quick car, perhaps, I don't know. But in fourth place, Toby Sowery is looking, you can probably see the tension. Do I dare go in and ask for a quick interview, knowing that he's a little bit Toby, quick word. What was the technical thing?
Something in the diff. Not entirely sure, but slightly over the tolerances. Not something that the boys felt have done. So unfortunate, but yeah, that's how it goes.
It is unfortunate. You're starting this race still in a decent position, though.
Yeah, well, we won the last race from 6, so we shall see how it goes.
Indeed. Not much else to say. Good luck, I suppose. If anybody can get on the podium again, it is Toby Sowery. And the Pulminator, James Pull, in this starting 5th place in this race. And I think it's 5th anyway. Yes, he is. P5 in this race. And well, what a lovely sight here at Brands Hatch. All the way, these beautiful Formula 3 cars in BRDC, and drivers just getting ready now. You can kind of get the sense that it is the end of the weekend, and as my attention is drawn to a rather sideways rally style mini JCW that's here at Brands. It happens, what can we say? But yeah, going back to what I was saying, it's a slightly bit more relaxed atmosphere. I think during race 1, this time before race number 1, it was a little bit tension filled, the air, certainly this paddock anyway. Let's go over to the podium, find out what happened, find out all the controversies, who did what, who pushed what off, who's got grievances, who's celebrating, and whether Enem Ahmed, or how much Enem Ahmed has stretched his lead in the championship. End of race number 3 in the BRDC British Formula 3 Championship, and it is a win, another win for championship leader and rather wet, soaked in champagne driver Enem Ahmed. Well done, congrats.
Yeah, thanks Lester, it was a really, really good race.
Talk us through it, how did you do it? What happened? Must have been boring from your point of view.
No, well, I'm very out of breath as you can see, because well, whatever I'm going to race next year, I know I need to push every lap in the race because the races are long, so I was getting some good practice in that, so every lap I treated like a qualifying lap, and I was pushing like hell, man. I'm quite tired at the moment, but yeah, it was really good.
Well, yeah, it certainly looked like you had everything under control right from the very start, really, and that's how it ended up, really. No dramas, and you extending your points championship lead again.
Yeah, so it was really good weekend. I'd like to say thanks to everyone at Carlin. We've done a really, really good job again. We just keep improving, and hopefully we'll try and wrap up the title at SNET.
Yeah, that is a definite possibility for you, and certainly you must be turning your attention to what might be possible or what options you might have for next year.
Well, every category that's higher than this, so I think you know.
Okay, yeah, I suppose that doesn't rule much out, to be honest, but yeah, Enem, we'll see you perhaps again on the podium, again perhaps in P1 at SNET.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite tracks, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, that's an ominous warning for everyone else. Well done, congratulations, Enem Ahmed, once again at the top of the podium. Well, it's a second place, hard fought second place in race number 3. Congrats, how was it?
Yeah, it was good. I kind of short shifted a little bit from first to second on the launch, and I might have given Enam a run on the outside of turn 1 or something like that, but it was unlikely anyway, and it wasn't really worth the risk, so I really just kind of settled into a groove for the rest of the race, and I wanted to finish the weekend on a high.
You certainly did that. Your first podium of the weekend. Is it, I suppose, after recent races and recent rounds, it must be a bit of a relief for you?
Oh yeah, it's definitely, I wouldn't say a relief, but it's good for the team, it's good for me. I needed to get some points and some podiums, so it's good that we're back in the swing of things.
And how is things within the team? I know you said that you wanted to sort of not kind of settle for second, but not kind of do you know what I mean? Not kind of like rock the boat too much.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's still 2 full more rounds to go, and the points are very close between second and fifth right now. So anything can happen, and it wasn't really worth the risk.
Well done. Another second place, Cameron Daz. And also James Pohl having a quick chat with. Sorry, I bombarded an interview. Sorry, I gate crashed an interview with. James says this one's more important. I don't believe him, but. You're such a flirt. Anyway, James, well done. Congrats, another podium.
Yeah, thank you. Can't complain with 3 podiums on a weekend. So, yeah, it was a good weekend for us. Shame I couldn't get my first win in race 1. You know, it was really close. But yeah, it was a shame. But you know, good points all for me. Pulled a good gap onto Toby and Ben behind me in the championship. So, yeah, last two rounds are going to be really exciting, I think.
Yeah, and said it's Snetterton anyway. He's one he's particularly looking forward to because he always goes well at, and he ominously mentioned he could wrap up the title there.
Yeah, he's got a really big gap, but anything can happen. It's British F3, we'll never know what happens, but yeah, he's got a big lead, so really, he can wrap it up for sure. He's got the ability, he's got the car, so yeah, we'll have to see. But I'm just going to try my best to lock really second in the championship. If I can challenge for the actual championship, that would be really good. It'd be really fun for me, and I think good for the championship as well to have a same as last year where we all fighting at the end of the year. So yeah, just going to try my best. Definitely going to be exciting. Snetterton's a good track for us, and Donington as well. So yeah, just going to try my best to challenge.
Well, that sounds like nobody else is going to get a look in unless you all take each other off.
Well, yeah, you know, we never know. It might happen. But yeah, we'll have to see. The racing's always really good anyway, even with being fair and it doesn't have to have crash. It doesn't have to have a crash for it to be exciting. So yeah, just going to try my best. Have some good races, just like that one. You know, have some good overtakes like race 2, and yeah, just going to go for it.
Yeah, certainly you did get, I think you got past Callan O'Keefe in the early stages of the race. Talk us through how you did that.
You just gotta. He had bad starts really all weekend. Either that or I've just got amazing starts.
Probably that.
Yeah, I think I just got really amazing starts. But yeah, I managed to get him off the line both times I was behind him, which is really helpful because then I can focus on the guys in front. And it looked like Toby jumped it at the start, and then panicked or something, and he stopped, or it looked like he stalled or something like that. But in sort of like the corner of my eye, I could see him sort of like moving and juttering. But yeah, I'm not sure what really happened there. So I got him as well there. So after that, really, I tried to challenge Cameron a little bit, but yeah, just didn't manage to. You know, he's got a lot of pace here as well, and he's as cool as a rock. So yeah, you know, I gave it a go, but it just didn't happen. And third's still a very good position.
It was an excellent sort of debrief of the race, James. Well done on another podium. Still picking up the trophies, and yes, still smiling.
Of course, I'm always smiling. You know,
that is true. You are. But well done, congrats, and yeah, we'll see you at the next round at Snetterton for the next round of the 2017 BRDC British Formula 3 Championship, right here on Motorsport.radio.
Thank you very much, Lester. Yes, excellent reporting there. Fantastic indeed. So yeah, there we go. Race number 3 over and done with, and it's a triple podium at the weekend for James Paul. Fantastic to see him picking up the points, and yeah, it's been you've got to admire his strength of character. He's not had a win yet in F3 this season, and he's been very consistently on the podium. But I'm not sure exactly if he has the second most podiums after Ahmed, but he's certainly a contender for probably one of the people to have the most podiums of the season. I think I should look at the stats really before I say things like that. So championship standings coming out of Brands Hatch. Well, it is Enam Ahmed leading the championship by over 100 points now. Yes, that's yeah, an inconvenience for the rest of the pack. James Pull up to second in the championship, though, thanks to his 3 podiums at the weekend. He's on 383 points. Toby Sowery down to third place in the championship. Cameron Daz in fourth with 339. Ben Hingley in fifth place on 319 points. And yeah, extremely frustrating and a weekend for Ben and the Ben Hingley team, having put on such a magnificent show in some of the races, coming through the pack to do brilliantly. And yeah, racing unfortunately happened, and sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and I think that was a weekend to forget for Ben. But yeah, there's still 2 more rounds to go at Snetterton in a few weeks' time, and at the British GT Championship round at Donington Park, where they rejoin British GT for their final 3 races of the season. Still 6 races left in the championship. All could turn on its head, even though Enam's over 100 points out in front. Anything could happen yet. Absolutely anything. It's not over until it is over, and well, guess what, it's definitely not over just yet. So yeah, Callan O'Keefe doing great in 6th place on 310 points, and potentially, well, we heard in his grid stalk earlier in the show that he expects maybe potentially that he might not be in F3 next year. Did I sort of extrapolate that bit of information from there? I might have to rewind that. I'll maybe issue a correction. But yeah, when Nick Vaughan's dad was talking to him, he said about next year, and Callan was a little bit not very optimistic about his chances for next season. I hope he stays in F3. I hope someone gives him a drive. I hope someone finds money for him. But that could be said about every driver, because I think they're... I like all the drivers in F3. I really do. I don't have any favourites. Chase Owen in 7th place in the championship right now. Kierkegaard in 8th. Jamie Chadwick in 9th. And Omar Iswail in 10th place right now, with still 6 races left to go. The next round is, as I said, Snetterton, the 27th of August, towards the end of this month. And a month later, almost a month later, is Donington Park, rejoining the British GT Championship round. And that brings this show to a timely end, because it's been 3 hours and 15 minutes. And guess what? We still didn't even play all of the interviews that we collected from the weekend. That's true, we didn't. But we will drip feed them throughout the week, and even cut up this show to make it easier, because I mean, nobody wants to digest the 3-hour show, do they? Come on. So what we'll do is cut this up and have like a Kiko BSB bike talk part, and then we'll have a GT part, and then I'll cut it up into and release that as a separate Formula 3 part as well, and spam everybody involved who we spoke to. I mean, promote, of course. So that is it. Thank you very much to everyone who we've mithered over the weekend. To Kiko Alexander Giles for coming on tonight's show. To Dan Marr, who's been fabulous over the weekend. And yet still managed to come on the show, despite being stuck with me all weekend. Thank you very much to Callan O'Keefe, who had an impromptu debut journalist moment, and let's see what happens from that in his career. Will it hinder his career? I don't know. That should be interesting. Thank you very much. We hear from Stefan Hodges, Niall Murray, Baz Linders, Krish Mahadik, who got his first win and podium and pole position in F3. Thanks also to Nick Vaughan, to Trevor Carlin as well, amongst other people, and Jordan Kane and everybody who's been on tonight's show, and to you as well for tuning in to the show. A like and a share won't go amiss. It's greatly appreciated, because we are motorsport.radio. Join up to the website if you wish, and we now fix the login, the auto social login thing. That's fixed now. So yeah, join up as a listener and get the inside line on all the latest motorsport.radio stuff, including all the latest giveaways and prizes, and that should be fantastic. And oh yes, well done to John Provost as well, an MSV Marshal and clerk of the course in training, who was the lucky winner of the Kawasaki Rider Training Service's two-wheeled experience, worth £49. Yay! And that's it from me here on Monday Motorsport. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'll be back again same time next week, maybe.
This is Monday Motorsport with Lester Forbes on Motorsport Radio.